That's right. We're doing a live stream on. Oh shoot, let's watch. I guess it's not Monday. Let's get into it. All right. So for those of you that missed it, I did a video last week about the live or just about stuff, and I said that hey, this week we were going to do the live stream on Wednesday because it's spring break, and old Big Mac wanted to spend some time with the fam. Yeah, also just trying something new. We got a lot of people that can't come on Mondays, and we had quite a lot of people on Wednesday for our live stream with the reveal show and all that. So I figured, you know what? Let's try something new. Hey, year 2047. Good to see you here. So we got to get these get this out to everyone. And then we'll get into it. Bam, 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 bam. Let's go. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Cool. We got that going, and I can get this going. So I can do it. No, I don't want it. Yay, sponsored ads on one thing, right? Hey, Ghosted, good evening. Blissful Badger, why on? Azmac, good to see you. Hey there, Will Marino. Magalosin, what is happening, everybody? Excellent. Okay, now we've got the live stream going crazy. Terminator's here. Blissful, I've been pretty good, to be honest. Been pretty good. Like I said in the video, it was spring break this week, so all the Grots were home and Mrs. Mech and all that stuff. So did a little vacation thing, got out of the house for a little bit, didn't touch any of my Warhammer, but also didn't do a live stream on Monday, so we were doing it tonight, which I announced in that video. But twofold, not just like personal reasons. We had a lot of people on our Wednesday night live stream for the big reveal. We do have quite a few people that like comment after the videos on Monday saying they can't make Mondays. So I was like, you know what? Let's mix it up a little bit. Maybe we'll do a different day every couple of weeks. See what happens. But I'm going to keep trying to bring you a live stream every single week, no matter what. We'll just might change what day we're doing it on. So that's how I've been. That's where we are. Hey, everybody. Good to see everybody rolling in. If you could do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button, which is right there on my screen and right there on your screen. Hey, that was pretty cool. I would really appreciate it because that gets the word out there to everybody. Hey, Hoobie Bear. Perfect timing. Looking for something to put on while you paint. Perfection. Yeah, honestly, Wednesday nights are usually when I'm watching YouTube and painting my guys and getting ready for like the next video and stuff. So yeah, usually Monday I talk and don't do anything, and then Wednesday I actually do stuff. So this week I'm giving up my doing stuff so I can talk to you guys, so you guys can get your doing stuff, right? Blissful Badger, we should be seeing a new orc next week. All right, you are correct. But really, do you really need to see another new orc? I got the War Boss box from the leak back from Mindtaker. It's been on display there for the last 2.5 weeks. So a bunch of locals could go and make the pilgrimage for the object, the item, whatever you want to call it, the Grail. But yeah, so got that back today. They had taken it back off of display, so we'll put it back up there in the pile of goodness. Although I'm half tempted to put this thing on eBay just to see what happens because it might be funny. And you guys know me, funny is the most important thing. But yes, Blissful Badger, we should be seeing a brand new orc next week. For those of you that haven't been following, Games Workshop every Monday since the big reveal show drop has been showing off something new. So they showed off a new Beaky, which we're going to talk about here in a bit. And they showed off rules, and they showed off missions, and they showed off terrain. So orc should be the next thing. So maybe we'll see an orc. They are definitely dripping it out. At this point, we've seen a plain Jane intercessor with the new old helmet, the Vanguard veteran, which is supposed to be like a fancy jump pack guy who isn't very fancy, and an orc boy. we haven't seen anything else from the actual launch box. So, yeah, we could be seeing something else. My guess, my prediction is probably something orky that's above the boy. Um, but they haven't shown us Grotz yet. And from what I can tell, the launch box is Grotz boys and then a bunch of characters. They don't have like an elite squad in the box the way that the Beakies do with the Vanguard veterans. So the two squads for the orcs seem to be boys and Grotz. So we might see Gretchen as the next thing revealed. But who knows? Maybe they'll do a character and surprise us. Death by chair. Green hype is so strong, I can't even look at my CSM right now despite the Defiler coming out. All right, Defiler kit, very, very cool. Very, very expensive, but also like the thing is huge now. It's like the size of a Gorgonaut, right? So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, green hype is strong. Guys, it's April. This box drops in June. That is 2 months away. We are like 8 weeks from having brand spanking new orcs in our hands. You should be hyped for that. That also means you've got 8 weeks to finish all of your non-Orky projects or your old Orky projects before you start your new Orky projects, which means you also have like 8 weeks left for our contest. All right, let's plug the contest real quick. So, for those of you that are unaware, have not seen the video, I am doing a contest called New Year, New Army or New Year, More Orcs. Premise is very, very simple. You get onto our Discord, linked down there in the description as always, totally free, and you throw up a picture tagging me in it of whatever you're working on. Now, do not go and buy something just for this contest. I want really low barrier to entry. Obviously, if you want to, go ahead. I personally bought a combat patrol during the holidays for my beakies because that's what I wanted. And my goal is to build that combat patrol. So far, I've got 10 of the guys of the 16 plus one vehicle built. So I'm feeling pretty good about my progress, about 1/3 into it. But yeah, you could take a project that you've got in the pile of opportunity that needs to be done. You could take an old project and strip all the paint off of it and redo it. You can buy something new, whatever you want to do, but post up what your army looks like now. And again, it does not have to be a brand new army, just kind of ideas, something that is not yet playable on the tabletop or like an expansion that you want to do, but you haven't gotten to yet, right? But post what you got now, what your goal is. And then in June, when the actual launch box drops, everybody is going to post what they've gotten done. And everybody that does both of those things is automatically entered to win the contest for free. And what do you win? I hear you ask. Well, you win Armageddon. I am buying the box full retail price with my own teeth and shipping it to you myself. See, the problem is all of these other channels and all these other, big things that do these contests, they use third-party companies for this stuff and they like drop ship whatever the thing is. So there's all sorts of restrictions on like you can't do it in certain countries and like taxes and all this stuff. We don't have to worry about any of that because what I'm sending you, even though it'll be sealed and new in the box, is used because I already bought it at full retail and paid my country's taxes for it. And when I ship it to you, it's being shipped from a private person to a private person. So there's not going to be any tariffs or fees or import duties or anything weird like that. It is simply a gift because Merry Squigmas. So that's how we're getting around all this because old Big Mech is nothing if not cunning so that you can win a Leviathan box. Now, right now, I'm only guaranteeing one because, well, I want to buy one for myself, obviously. I don't want to buy one for all of you guys, but depending on how many people enter the contest and how many more boxes I can get my hands on, we might have more than one winner. Basically, I'm going around to all my local game stores, who you've seen in one of my videos where I visited all of them in a day, and gone, hey, I need a box. Make sure my name is on the list for a box, and we'll see how many actually show up. Plus, I'll buy direct from Games Workshop, whatever I got to do. But that's how we're going to get boxes to you. We're also going to do a bunch of first prizes from the merch store at theredonesgofasta.com. As always, linked in the description below. We have a brand new design, in case you haven't seen it, called the New Year More Orcs design. And every single piece of merch you buy with that design on it gets you an extra entry into the contest. So everybody can get one for free by working on an army project, and everybody can get bonus ones by buying merch. So there we go. All right, let's see. Oh, yes, the Herminator, you are correct. They did show off a knob in the box, but they specifically said it was the boss knob for the boys squad. So it's not a knob from like a squad of knobs. It's not a knob as a standalone character. It was literally the
orc version of a sergeant. It was a boy squad knob. Games Workshop said that in their article. I still see YouTubers like going out into outer space about this and not following. And it's like, read it. They literally said, they said, boss knobs lead squads of boys. Here is one that leads a squad of boys in the new box. Like, I don't know how much more clear you can get. But yeah, Metal Skull, they are definitely milking it. But I mean, let's be honest here. Okay, first of all, Games Workshop is a multi-billion-dollar company. They care about shareholder value, right? But second of all, this is a big deal. Like even just as hobbyists, right? I mean, you guys know me. This is the Beer and Pretzels channel. We are here to buy minis and like leave them on our desk for years and never actually play a game. I'm calling myself out here, right? But that's what we're here for. But even for us, this is a big deal. It is a new edition of Warhammer 40K. It is a opportunity to have a reset. If you did not like the current edition, it's a way to get you pumped and back into the game. Mainstream media picks up articles about it and runs with it with, the game from your childhood has a new edition coming out. And they're going to capture graybeards like me who maybe haven't gotten back into the game yet. But, they're sitting around at work and they read Investopedia or whatever. And suddenly they're going, oh, yeah, Warhammer, I remember that. And they're going to go buy a new box, right? So a new edition is a huge thing. So, of course, they're going to milk it. So one guy at a time, one reveal at a time. It just comes with the territory. Now, that being said, there is another thing that Games Workshop has actually come out and said on why they're not showing all the minis right away. And that's 3D scanning has become insanely good. For those of you that don't know, the reveal article on this War Boss, there is already STL files out there that match the look of this guy almost perfectly. They were basically able to take Games Workshop's high definition images and scan it and turn it into a pretty darn good replica right away. Now, obviously, the back of the guy, they have no idea what he looks like. They're taking a guess there, along with scale and pose and a couple other things. So it's not going to be the best file in the world. But the fact that it's literally already out there is kind of crazy. So Games Workshop wants to prevent that from happening. So they are choosing on purpose not to show everything right away. The other thing they've been doing, which is tied into this, which I didn't realize until very recently, the old Games Workshop website, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, gamesworkshop.com or warhammer.com, it used to be totally different. It used to be really, 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 really good, actually. You could search for something and actually get the results for it very quickly and like very granularly, right? So like if I looked up scouts, I would get Imperial Guard scouts. I would get Beaky scouts. I would get, commandos because they had like a scout keyword. Like you'd have everything, scout speeders, right? Scout walkers, everything was scout in it, right? And it was really good. And when you clicked on an individual kit, it would give you not only multiple pictures of the models built, it would give you pictures of the sprue, and it would give you a 360-degree high def photo that you could spin around and look at. When they went to the new website a couple of years ago, all of that disappeared. The keyboard stopped working. All the information was gone. I mean, it was awful. It was terrible. Now it's come a long way since then. It is almost sort of functional today, but most things still don't have the 360, and the 360 that is back is not the same. The old 360s we had were true 360s. You could take your mouse and click on it and grab it and just pull it around and stop it wherever you wanted and get every single side of this thing in high def. Now that's gone. They just kind of have a spinning video thing and it's very low quality. And that is on purpose because people were taking those 360 views and using them to create STLs and literally ripping off Games Workshop. Now, do I have anything wrong like with 3D printing? No, I own a 3D printer. I've done 3D printing myself. Do I see anything wrong with making homages of designs? Well, no, right? We make homages here. Homages are fair play, have always been fair play. If you want to completely from scratch design your own thing that is based on something else, you are free to do that. It is fair use. Depending on what you're doing, you can't sell it. So if we were to make a Red Squig Mini and try to sell it as a model kit, that's going to get us into hot water. But making a parody of an energy drink, right, is a fair use thing. But so if you're making STLs of, say Space Marine intercessors, you can't legally sell those without getting into hot water unless they are like truly super unique and don't look anything like the Games Workshop stuff. If they do look like it, if you give it away for free, if you're not like commercially using it, there kind of gets into some gray areas where you kind of can use it or do it, because then it's like fan fiction, right? If you write a fan fiction novel, whether it's about 40K or Star Wars or anything, if you just give it away, if you just put it out there for free, there's nothing nobody can do about it, right? Because it is fair use, right? So it's kind of like the same kind of thing. So if you make a 3D sculpt thing and you sell it, it needs to be sold, like wholly original. If you are making it and giving it away, it could be based on the other stuff, but you could still potentially run into issues. Where we get into problems here, though, is like with these 360 views, people were like literally copying it. They are just straight up pirating it. Now, I get it. This hobby is expensive. Always has been, always will be. Every hobby is expensive. And there was always that saying, you wouldn't download a car. Obviously there are people that pirate things and stuff like that. But the realistic thing of it is, Warhammer exists because we like it. And if we completely rip off the company, regardless of whether or not they're a multi-billion-dollar corporation, they're going to stop making it. And then the thing that you love isn't going to exist anymore. And I have seen this happen with other hobbies. In the scale modeling universe, they are definitely running across this issue. There was a really big company over in Europe that did aircraft that were just amazing, just incredible kits. And these 3D print people were scanning the kits and then giving out the STLs, and people were 3D printing them instead of buying the kits, and the company went out of business. Now we have no more new kits of those airplanes. And it was very specialized. It was like a large scale World War I thing. And that's terrible. Like if Games Workshop ceased to exist and we no longer had Warhammer minis, that would actually suck. Like there's room out there for alternatives, right? There's space for Conflict 47 and Trench Crusade and StarCraft and all the Star Wars minis and everything else, right? Like there is space for all of these things. But if you take away any one of them totally because of piracy, that's crap. So don't do that. But that's why they got rid of the 360s. All right, let's get caught up with the thing here. Oh, chat's going crazy because I got on a rant. Azimax says to put the War Boss on bid for a week, starting at $1 and let it ride. I mean, it could be fun. It would suck not to own it anymore, but it would be really cool to like get it out there and then see what happens, and like maybe somebody else does something really funny with it. I don't know. What do you get? I mean, because as soon as this thing comes out in real life and you can get a good one, no one's going to care about the busted one anymore. You know, the value will quickly drop to zero. But yeah, maybe now, right now, I could get 2T for it or something. I don't know. Oh, Pesler, the polychromatic is with me. Thinks that they're going to show a single grot. Oh, or a weird boy. Okay. I still think the weird boy that they showed off in the trailer might be a weird boss. First of all, he goes toe to toe with characters way higher up than him. But second of all, that collar thing that he has on him is very different than anything weird boys have had before. But also his staff axe thing was a two-handed weapon. So yeah, he might be a weird boss. He could be a 50 millimeter base big boy. So we'll see what they do with that. McFadden says, funny enough, the thing I'm most excited about are the warp talons for your new army, because you just found the perfect mix of pink contrast. Ooh, I look forward to seeing that over in the Discord. For those of you that aren't on the Discord or haven't like gone to look at the photos yet, nearly every single army thread is inundated with photos right now, and it is awesome. You guys have some killer projects. First of all, we have our first all-grot army in the contest and on the forum, which is awesome. I love it. There's Mechanicus, there's Necrons, there's so many Blood Bowl teams. There's a couple of old world builds, there's a couple of AOS builds. Like, if you like armies, you should be on our Discord, even if you're not in the contest, because man, is it cool. All right, you know what? We should start a goal thingy. For those of you that don't know how this works, let's see. Oh, we can do a fun one. Oh, there we go. That'll 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 be spicy. Okay. All right. Super chat goal is started. So for those of you that don't know, these live streams and just the channel as a whole, YouTube's algorithm pushes the channel out to new people based on how you do. And how you do isn't just views or clicks or likes. It is an amalgam of everything. So the more views you have, the better. The longer the views you have, the better. The more people click the like button, the better. It's right there in case you haven't, or right there, depending on what you're watching on. You know, I'd appreciate that. It's free. I click, like, heck, click dislike. I don't care. They both count the same, honestly, because it shows engagement. With the live streams, they have these top chat goals right there. And you'll see there's a 0 of 15 on there. When we make those goals and then hit them, as soon as we hit them, you see an algorithm boost where YouTube shows this now to more people. So when they're doom scrolling their phone, all of a sudden it's going to show them this mug and say, hey, you should be watching this because other people found it cool. So we just set our goal right there, and the goal is 15 this time because we've blown 10 out of the water multiple times. So we got to get bigger or they're going to stop pumping us. But if we do 15, I will literally post this on eBay tonight. I will start it at $1, one tooth, no reserve. So there's a chance. What if you could buy it for $1? That's what we're gonna do if we get 15. So there you go. That's any chat whatsoever. Throw them in there. We got to grow the channel. It gets us out there, and then yeah, we'll have some fun with the box. Okay, back to the chat. Let's see where we're at here. Yeah. Oh, and Tesla the Polychromatic has another great point on here. It feels like GW is showing only the most basic models so that the AI scanners don't poach the models. I absolutely agree with that. That is 100% what Games Workshop is doing. They've pretty much come out and said so themselves. Because of that 3D scanning epidemic, if they give you the most basic guy, no one's gonna like bother to scan it, right? Stuff like that. Or even if they give you like a really weird pose or something like that, where it's hard for them to figure out like the angle to do that or whatnot, that also causes things. So very smart. Hey, we got our first one of 15 down. Real Jazeer, thank you so much, my friend. That is so appreciated. So Real Jazeer says, so I have finished, almost finished building and basing the orc half of Assault on Blackridge. Had the box server. Be still the warm cockles of my heart. Assault on Blackreach is still one of the finest boxes of all time. And not just because it had orcs in it, like literally the whole box was excellent. First of all, fifth edition rules were all right coming out of the box, but you got the little mini rule book, you got the missions, you got the whole orc army. I mean, what was it like 20 boys? 5 knobs, a war boss, and 3 death coppers. It was literally like that was the first box that you got an army in. Because the one before that, Battle from a Crag, which had the really cool crashed lander terrain in it, was only one squad of beakies with a captain. It wasn't really an army. And even the Tyranid side, it was a little closer. It was like 20 of the Termagants and then 10 Gene Stealers. It didn't have a leader. It had like some spore mines and stuff. So they were like getting there, but it wasn't an army. Same thing with third edition. Third edition was one squad of beakies. That's all you got. 10 tactical squads. And then the Dark Eldar side was just 20 Dark Eldar warriors. Like it wasn't even, you got one squad each. The second edition box was a little bit more of an army. Like you got, what was it, like 20 Grots and 20 boys or something like that. But then the Death Tread was cardboard. And once again, no leader, no war boss, nothing like that. And same thing on the Beaky side. You got like 10 Beakies, and that was it. So Assault on Blackridge was the very first box that you legit got an army. You got a leader, you got vehicle, you got a troop, and you got some sort of elite unit on both sides. And that, yeah, because the Beaky side was like 10 Space Marines, 5 Terminators, the captain, and the Dreadnought. You got a box knot in it. That box was so good. I bought, I don't know, 3 or 4 of them back in the day. Unfortunately, none of the actual boxes themselves survived, and I've been dying to find a box to add to my box collection in the background. But I do at least still have all my boys and all my knobs, and my war boss is still leading my WA to this day. So yeah, super cool. And the great thing is that box is still to this day, 20 odd years later, totally legit. We still have death copters. They're the same size and the same style. We still have war bosses. Granted, you need to put him on a little bit bigger base, but he's totally good to go. You still have boys. You still have knobs. Like, how great is that? Like the beaky side, you can't use any of it. The box knot's like half the size of a modern dreadnought. There are no more like regular tactical squads or beaky captains. Like all that stuff's dead. The beaky side, the Terminators are half the size of the new Terminators. But the orcs, the boys, carry on as usual. As usual. Oh, hey, Dirt Hermit checking in. Got his car fixed today. It was a bad ignition coil. Very interesting. We kept chasing a fuel issue, my man. So yeah, neat that it was an ignition coil. I hope that that stays good and running for you then. Keep the red speed truck going. I say speed truck. It's a speed buggy. All right, where were we on these? I got backed up again. Blissful Badger says he is working on the 4th unit. Ooh, a unit a month rate is actually really, really, really good. For those of you that haven't seen it, Blissful Badger, who you can click on right there in the comments, he's got his own YouTube channel. Excellent YouTube channel. I watch every single video myself personally. He's got a massive, really rad collection. And not just Warhammer, but mostly Warhammer. But he's been doing the New Year, New Army Challenge, and he's doing Leagues of Votan. And the videos are super cool because he first of all, just picking which army, I think it was what Drukari, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But he had 2 different armies he was thinking about. He actually ended up building both squads to start with to actually make the decision of which army to go through, which I thought was really, really smart because when I think of a new project or I'm looking at my pile of opportunity, I just kind of grab something and go for it. And then I kind of spend the whole time I'm working on going, yeah, I really wish I would have picked the other one. So painting 2, right, and actually going through the whole process and going, which one did I enjoy more, was like this huge speed boost to getting the rest of the project done. But all of his videos following that, talking about the next units, he's going through not just like why he's picked the unit, but the color scheme for it and the background and the lore, and like how it fits his own personal army and stuff. It's been really intriguing. It's exactly why I'm doing this contest. That is the kind of content I love. And seeing this army coming together, a unit a month, is actually good. I mean, think about that, all of you. How many of you have ever gotten a whole unit done every single month for multiple months in a row? I've barely done that ever. Like, so that's wild. That's super awesome. That is really, really, really cool. Hey, we got our second one in. Thank you, McFadden. Super appreciated. That is number 2 of the 15. Says new intercessor is going to be so cheap on eBay. Get ready. I wanted to talk about that. That is actually, so the actual title of the thing here, right? 11th edition hyper drama. For those of you that are not in the Beaky sphere, which I don't blame you, the Beakies, all of those fans are losing it right now. They think that the new Space Marines that have been shown off are terrible. Now, I'm a pretty big Space Marine fan. I'm obviously no Chapter Master Valrak, but I mean, Space Marines are cool. It's what helped get me into 40K way back in 3rd edition and stuff. I've had a number of Space Marine armies. I still have a Space Marine army. My New Year, New Army project is Space Marines, right? So I would consider myself more than the passing fan of it. I could care less about any of the Space Marines they've shown off. I like the new intercessors. That is actually what drew me back into 40K. Like, yes, classic Marines were cool back in the day, but they were back in the day. They were old hat. The new intercessors I thought were cool enough looking and original enough looking. Because remember, 40K is, a whole bunch of random 70s and 80s sci-fi and pop punk culture stuff all wrapped up, right? So there's obviously a lot of influences in OG Space Marines from other IPs. Intercessors were the first thing that to me felt totally unique. So the idea of intercessors suddenly having old beaky helmets does nothing for me. Absolutely nothing. And then the Vanguard veterans. Let's talk about the Vanguard veterans for a second, because woo boy, that has been a hot topic on the internet as of late. The Vanguard veterans, so they're the jump pack guys that are supposed to be like more ornate and stuff. The OG metal models were the bee's knees. They were absolute mint back in the day when they came out. The first plastic squad when it came out was kind of a letdown, honestly. I remember this. I lived it, right? Those plastic ones came out, and as kit bashers and stuff, like, oh, that's cool, because now we got a plastic kit. We can, build it however we want and do that kind of stuff. But they weren't as cool as the metal guys. And because they were modular, their actual like poses weren't as cool, because no matter what you did, like cut, like you couldn't actually get that dynamic pose that the monopose metal guys did. So even those guys kind of had a bit of a letdown. These new ones they're showing, they have like next to no ornamentation on them. Like he's got like a little flappy thing down there, and a power sword, and that's about it. Like there's no filigree and wings and stuff on the back, on the jump pack. There's no filigree and stuff on his armor. There's nothing cool on the sword, and the sword's always had like wings and cool stuff on them, and skulls and stuff everywhere. There was just nothing on them. They literally look like jump pack intercessors, but with old helmets and power swords. Now, they're push fit. They're in a launch box, just like the Leviathan Terminators, right? They're not going to be the coolest, but, and this was the point that I actually agreed with on all of the YouTuberverse, when you looked at the Vanguard or Stern Guard veterans, the ones that came in Leviathan, so literally the box of the current edition. We're not even like going way back in time. We're like, these were the ones you could literally buy, right now. They were to the nines. They had all the big robes and tabards and all the like filigree and stuff and the weapons. They looked insane. They looked super good. And yet now the Vanguard veterans, who are supposed to be the jump pack version of that, don't look anything like that. So I think there is a lot of valid criticism coming from the Beaky side when it comes to Vanguard veterans. Just saying. Okay, I see we got another super chat in there. So busy talking that it expired, but of course we're going to go back to it. That is from Sneaky Git. Thank you so much, Sneaky Git. Extremely appreciated. Says, Wagon, working on my new year, new army. Thanks for the motivation to reduce my big gray pile of orcs. You are most welcome. Thank you so much for the donation, and thank you so much for being part of the new year, new army, or new year, more orcs thing. Again, those of you that have been watching me, you know me. Armies are my thing. Like Armies on Parade is my Super Bowl of the year. I love armies. That's why I'm not hyped about Kill Team. That's why other games never interest me, because they're all squad based. I like armies. I like seeing multiple squads. I like a force organization chart. I like seeing vehicles. I want an army. And armies are what is cool about Warhammer. So you guys doing these armies and getting your armies up to snuff and taking these awesome photos, I cannot wait. I literally cannot wait for the end of this contest. Everybody's photos that are going up, we are totally doing a montage video, or a live stream or something. We're going to go through each and every one of them. It's going to be absolutely epic. One of my favorite things, in fact, I think I'm going to grab it. I think it's right here. I don't think Vescrot stole it. It was a book back in the day. I have it somewhere, but Vescrot stole it. It looks a lot like this, but it's not called How to Paint Citadel Miniatures. This one also very good. Back in the day, it goes through a bunch of different armies and styles and painting. Had some really cool photos of units in there. This book they printed a bunch of. You can usually find them pretty darn cheap, secondhand. Highly recommended. But there's another version of this that is how to paint Citadel armies, or something about not how to paint something Citadel armies. I think it's collecting Citadel armies. Anyways, in that book, there are not that many 40k armies. This was like it was printed during third edition, but all of the stuff in it is from older White Dwarf articles. So the armies are like second edition armies. There was maybe like 6 or 8 40k armies, but then there was like 20, 25 old world art, well, Warhammer Fantasy Battle back then armies. But it went through the army like rosters and like what each person thought when they built the army and then when they chose their paint scheme and stuff. I love that book. It is literally my favorite book. I still read it to this day. There was a Beaky Force in there, these Space Marines that were black with red trim. This is pre Black Templars. Totally made up chapter. And it was like a couple of squads, a captain, I think like a squad of Terminators, and then a land speeder. And the old like metal land speeder that's all like open on top and the guy's like feet are hanging down and stuff. It was so stinking cool. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Hey, we got another couple of things in. I got to keep up with you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Pesler the Polychromatic says, the Vanguard vet seems like a throwback to the original metal ones. Mark my words, the sergeant will have an eyepiece and be holding a sword two-handed. Ooh, I like that. I like that theory a lot. Now, the metal ones were not as crazily filigreed as the plastic ones just because they were older, but they did have a more dynamic look to them. And that very well could be what they are doing here, because they do seem to be doing throwbacks really heavy. Even the orcs are like super calling on old stuff from back in the day. They're leaning into like second edition era hard, which is really cool. So I could see that. That is a really, really, really good point, Pesler. And First Weird Boy says 11th is my jumping in edition. Welcome to the war! And thank you so much for that super chat. Extremely appreciated as we get the word out there to the masses to come here to the Red Ones Go Fasta and be part of our orc buildup as we absolutely dominate 11th edition. Maybe not the games, but we are going to dominate the having fun portion of it. That is for dang sure. So thank you so much for that. So glad to have you here. Glad that you are jumping into Warhammer 40K. There is a lot of you jumping in for 11th edition. There's a lot of people jumping in because they've seen some stuff about 11th edition coming out, or even they've seen my videos and gone, oh, hey, this is cool. Warhammer's back. Or like they've never gotten into it in the first place and always wanted to. So that is really, really cool. All right. Let me get back a little bit because, yeah, I keep skipping things as we skip around here. Maybe Games Workshop should only show potato cameras. Well, you know. Let's see. Death by Chair is working on a combat patrol plus 3 kill teams of commandos and breakers he got. Nice. Okay. The old combat patrol, so the 20 boys, the War Boss and Mega Armor, the Def Dread, and the 3 Def Coptas, right? Plus the 3 kill teams. So commandos, Breaker Boys, and Tank Busters is an excellent army. Even the new combat patrol, so Beast Boss 20, Beast Snagas, the Squig Hog Boys, and the 3 kill teams, still like that is an excellent army. That's actually like my go-to start looking at an army when I do my videos on like when the battle forces come out. I'm like, okay, what do I buy from here? We always look at the combat patrol and then we look at all the kill teams. And if the battle force, the combat patrol, and the kill teams all work together, you get this like triangle of perfection that makes collecting a new army so much fun and so good. I'm really hopeful that whatever the launch box becomes, when they pare it down a little bit and it becomes the 2 kill teams, the 2 combat patrols in a box that become the starter set that is available throughout the edition. I really hope that set is really good and that our combat patrol is really excellent and does work with those kill teams still, because that makes getting into this army so much better and so much cooler and so much easier for people. So yeah, Death by Chair, excellent starting point no matter which combat patrol box you've got. Sir OJ, excited for Armageddon launch and Wazdaka Gutsmith. Yeah, so Wazdaka's got to come out before Armageddon. So I'm thinking maybe this weekend when they do the Sunday preview, they're going to announce him for pre-order. Because I mean, yeah, otherwise when's he going to come out before June? And yeah, I definitely need to get my hands on a Wazdaka. In fact, would that be a good prize too? Like I know I've said we're going to give away an Armageddon box and we're going to give away merch from the merch store. But would you guys want to win a Wazdaka too? Because I'm sure I could get more than one Wazdaka. If you want a Wazdaka, let me know down in the comments below. If you really want a Wazdaka, throw up that super chat so we can hit that 15. Put our war boss on eBay. All right, catch you back up here. As Max said, I still need to figure out what store to go to get the lunchbox. Hopefully, your friendly local game store. For those of you that don't know, Games Workshop, despite selling Warhammer directly to you through their own website, the vast majority of their sales actually come from friendly local game stores. It comes from retailers. So when they manufacture things, they actually set in their production a certain percentage, and that percentage is well more than half, of the kits that go to those FLGSs. And the FLGS is able to order more every release based on how many things they are able to sell the release prior. So if you could support your friendly local game store, not only are you keeping a local place in business, a place that you can go play a game at, a place that's going to carry a paint that's not Citadel, right? A place that, is a social gathering and maybe has snacks and drinks, or like one of my locals, Contrarian Gaming Cafe, they have like a whole cafe. You could get espresso and a panini that is like so good that people stop in there for that and don't even know it's a game store, right? Like that's the kind of place that you are keeping in business when you order from a friendly local game store. So that would be my recommendation. I know that's not feasible for everybody because not everybody lives by a friendly local game store, let alone 5 like I do. But if you can support them, they are amazing. The Obscure OJ going to be playing my first game of 10th here in a month or two. I don't know that I've actually fully played. No, that's not true. When 10th first came out, I actually played quite a bit. When it first launched and it was indexy, it was okay-ish, even though the orcs were like really, really broken with the whole like fortress thing. But even like getting rid of that, the game was kind of all right at the beginning, and then it just went crazy. So I did at least 3 games with because 10th launched right before I went to Tacoma Open. And so the Tacoma Open was the first open that had 10th edition rules. And so the games were over there, but I played with the guys that my local crew a bunch leading up to that so that they could get a handle on the new rules. So I was their whipping boy so they could get up to snuff on it. So I did play quite a bit of 10th when it first came out. But yeah, I have not played a game of 10th in the last 2 years. I will be fully honest on that. Yeah, as Mac, the site upgrade, there are a lot of videos we could go back to on the site upgrade. All right, let's just say that. So Donnie Lurch says they don't see why they'd skip over the basic Weird Boy for a refresh. It's not that they're going to skip over the basic Weird Boy. We are definitely getting a new Weird Boy at some point, whether he's in the launch box or a single thing on his own later or both. We don't know. What I'm saying is what they showed in the trailer might be a weird boss. Now, it would be really weird to get both a weird boss and a weird boy in the box, but Games Workshop has done Stranger, so it's not entirely outside of the purview of things, and really is that so different than a captain and a lieutenant. But yeah, we're definitely going to get a new weird boy. Don't buy the current Resident Weird Boy. He's crazy ugly and crazy brittle. So you don't want that anyway. But I'm just saying, there's a potential that he is a weird boss. Doesn't mean that we're not getting Weird Boy. I really just why you called me out. The Herminator says I need to make a display with the acquired box, the actual mini. I've been thinking about that. The other thing I wanted to do was get one of those like slabs that you could get for like magic cards or whatever, or baseball cards, like get some big acrylic thing and put it in it with like a fake slab thingy on top and like have it graded, by one of the big houses, but then like make it all meanie. That was another thing I was going to do for like one of the shorts or something. But man, getting an acrylic box is actually really expensive and kind of hard. So I haven't done that yet. I could do the low rent version. I'll put it in a Ziploc bag with some Sharpie on it or something, but then it's not as funny. Hey,
Hey, we got another chat that came in while I was yapping. Real Jazeer again. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Do a bunch of orc fans want to win a cool orc model? Is that a trick question? I love it. I love it. Oh, and then Ghosted 12C2I says an old Big Mac painted Wazdaka. Oh, that's interesting. So a couple of years ago, when we were first getting the channel off the ground, one of my first contests was win old Big Mac's orcs. I literally I had too many orcs. I was tripping over them. And I figured that a great way to build the channel instead of like selling off my spares to fund the channel was I would run a contest and use that to kind of like boost the channel and then give the army away to somebody. And the army it was a bunch of spares like new on the sprue and built stuff and things like that. But it was like close to like 1,500 points. It was a lot of stuff. That was the grand prize, and then second prize was a take bus to squad or something like that. And then yeah, but anyways, having it painted was like one of the things people were like really excited about, but it was like really old paint jobs. But then the people that won second, third ended up not getting the stuff. They didn't want it. So it never even made it out there. So I've yet to actually give away something that I have painted. So yeah, maybe we could do that. Maybe we could do an old Big Mac painted Wazdaka or an old Big Mac painted something to do as a prize. So you guys let me know. Do you want to paint it or not paint it? Maybe we do one of each. In the words of Billie Eilish, duh. I do that all the time to people. I'll be like, in the immortal words. Durham says he would support my FLGS if they supported me. That is true. Not every local game store is a friendly local game store. I have definitely lived by my share of poopers. I can say honestly that all but one of them no longer exist. And the one that does still exist, who knows how long they are for the world. When it comes to being a local game store, you need to be friendly. If you are not friendly, if you do not support your hobbyists, you're not going to make it because frankly, the internet is cheaper. So yeah, if they don't support you, if they're not friendly, obviously it doesn't apply. We're only talking about FLGSs, not LGSs. Two different things. Hey, Artisan, hello from New Mexico. Oh, steak shop. Yes. Second was the loot your own tank kit. That is right. Oh, no, the squiggle launcher we never gave away. It's right there. We talked about using it as a giveaway. And yeah, nobody really was that into it. For those of you that don't know, when I went to the Tacoma Open 3 years ago, they had a brand new ticket at that time called the Hobby Experience. So what it was is prior to this, if you went to the tournament, to the Open, you only either played in the Grand Tournament or the Narrative. That was the only way to get a ticket. And so if you wanted to go and like really experience it, but not play a game, the only thing you could do was like buy the full meal deal ticket and then like not play your games, which really sucked, right? So they came out with this new thing called a hobby ticket. And when you did the hobby ticket, you were able to get into the thing, which you could get into free anyway, but you were able to shop at the store, you were able to get the loot bag and all that jazz. Like that's my lanyard and my name card and all that stuff. Like all the special edition things came with it, and then they had a special hobby challenge table. And what it was is you went there, it was a huge table, it was like the size of this room, literally covered in sprues, and you had to build something and paint it over the course of the 2 days. And then they would judge it, and there was a theme, and the theme was like a nightly order or something like that. And so my nightly order was losing his nightly order. The knight got jumped by a bunch of orcs, and they were gonna catapult the horse and rider. The rider, of course, being a grot with a stolen helmet on, while the knight looked on, all tied up and screaming in agony. I thought it was hilarious. The judges did not think so. And I talked about giving it away, but a lot of people were like, no, man, you really need to keep that. So in the box, it stays. So no, I have yet to actually give away something that I have painted. Ooh, McFadden, thank you for that. Got another lovely donation here from McFadden. The super chat says, get the new biker orc so I can convert Doom Rider. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Oh no, Real Jazir, you are right. It is not updating. Why is it not updating? Yeah, we've definitely had more than 5. Let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've had 8. We are at 8 of 15. Why is it not updating? That is so strange because I put on it. Yeah, because if you click from super chat to fan funding, it shows all 8. Why does it not count? That is so strange because it's set to all levels. So that you could set it to like only be a minimum chat counts. But I didn't do that. I said literally every color, every type of chat works. So I don't know why it is doing that. I'm gonna have to talk to YouTube about that because that sucks. That's messed up. You guys should get credit for that. Hey, look at there's 9 and 10 right there. Artist turn with rebase 30 assault on Blackreach boys, 50 more to go. I hope you're not rebasing their knob because the knob is going to be on a 40 millimeter. Make sure you do that. But that's awesome. 30 assault on Blackreach boys, 50 more to go. I have my original like first 20 that have always been in my army are still in my army. I've got probably another 20 or 30 floating around on my various squads. Some of them have been turned into ludas and burnas and things like that. But they're all in there as boys. And then I've got another few still floating around as spare parts. But yeah, you gotta love an AOBR boy. They have to be teal. The 499 one, Shady Snake says they have to be teal. No, I told YouTube that all levels. Like I'm literally looking at it. I know you guys can't see that, but I see it on my screen. That it shows all levels. So I don't know why when it shows all levels here on my end that it's not doing all levels for you guys. Ghosted 12 C2I, another one for science. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. And then Hoovy Bear says, teal, this is more of a green. It's got to be green. Green is best. Log on. Come on, guys. We should have figured this out a long time ago. Way to be cunning. Yes. So thank you so much, Hoovy Bear, Ghosted 12, and Shady Snakes for figuring that out. I don't know why, again, I don't know why it is only counting 5 and above. I can't show you because when you stream in YouTube, you're like in a special live streaming like frame, and there's like all these control thingies right here for me and stuff. But if I share my screen, what you're going to see is like what you see on YouTube. But it shows because you could pick like what the minimum counting level is, and I've clicked the button that says all chats. So I don't know why arbitrarily it's only doing green and higher instead of all chats because it literally says all colors on it. So I don't know what it is about the blue ones that makes them not count. But you guys are amazing. We're up at 8 on the official count, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then plus 4 of the blue ones. So really we're at 12, even though we're not at 12 on the counter. So all 12 of you super duper appreciate it. Again, every single thing you do, regardless of whether or not it's counted up there, every single time you guys do this kind of thing, it does push this out more and more to the algorithm. You can actually see the number of people. Well, I can see the number of people actively watching, like kind of pop up every time something happens. So this is the kind of thing that actually does work. All right, Real Jazeer says he put the knobs on 32 millimeter for Blackreach because they looked a bit small and plain. Not a bad plan. The new knobs definitely look like they're going to be a lot beefier. I actually, total honesty, so I've got a squad of 10 Blackreach and other assorted knobs converted with power claws, and a squad of 10 pretty much all Blackreach knobs with huge choppas or big choppas. And they're all on 32s. And I literally just put them on 32s within the last 6 months. I was in the process of snapping them all off of 32s to prepare for 40s when I was like, man, the new knobs are so beefy and so big. I don't know that these guys are really going to stand up. So I actually took that entire project, put it all in a box, put it down into deep storage, waiting for the new knobs to come out. Because if they are as beefy as the Commando knob and the Recca Crew knob and the
the knob, from the monopose boys and the one they shut off, if that's the new size of knob, yeah, the AOBR knobs aren't going to be big enough anymore. So if we really do truly get the full size knob on a 40 leading boys, then these guys, I got to figure out something to do. I might use them as bodies for like take bustas or something like that now, since those guys are maybe a little bigger. Or who knows, maybe we'll get Scar Boys back or something like that. I'm kind of hoping for that, or Ard Boys or something like that. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't really know what to do with those AOBR knobs at this moment. In fact, at this moment, my entire orc army is kind of in shambles. All of my war bosses are off of their bases. All of my characters are off of their bases. All of my knobs are scattered to the winds and in a box dealing with that. And then my boys, like I had very specific paint schemes for my Shooter boys versus my Slugga boys to kind of also help differentiate them on the battlefield. So like when I'm playing, like it made it easier to be like, oh, all the red helmets, those are the guys with the choppas. All the chrome helmets, those are the guys with the shooters, right? But now they all have the same thing. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with that yet. I don't know that I want to convert all these guys into having all the things either. So yeah, my whole orc army is literally on hold until 11th edition drops, because I need to see the minis in person. I need to understand what's going on with them before I decide what to do with my army. And yeah, you better believe we'll have videos for all of those decisions. And then any kit bashing that we do, anything that we do to bring old stuff up to the new specs, we'll have full in-depth everything on. So yeah, that's hence the kind of lack of orc content around here lately. That's why. With all the things that we've learned already, yeah, I need to wait. I just need to be patient. I just need to make it 60 more days and we'll be there. Let's see. What else you guys say? Blue is lucky, but green is best. Thank you, First Weird Boy. Much appreciated. So Pete Smack 87 says, I am hyped for the new box. I hope they really do it right this time. Free rules updates for all codexes, make current ones usable, and all codexes available in online PDF form for free. Oh, my friend, that is some hopium you are huffing there. Only one of those things is going to happen, and that is that the current codexes are still going to be good in 11th, because Games Workshop has literally come out and said that. There is guaranteed not going to be free codex rules. They'll have the actual game rules for free on PDF like they do now, but the codices are going to continue to be cache locked. The one thing they might do, we've heard rumblings of this because this is kind of like the biggest feedback customers have given them, is that if you subscribe to Warhammer Plus or pay the fee for the Warhammer app, you should get all the rules unlocked. Now, one thing they have said is that if you are playing a game in the app, so we're going to play a game of 11th, we show up at the game store together, we've got it all in the app, I'm going to be able to see your rules and you're going to be able to see mine, right? So even though I don't own a Necron codex and you don't own an Orc codex, we're still going to be able to see each other's rules. So that part's neat. But there's been a lot of people going, hey, you have this whole extra tier for content. Like, you are charging me a premium for this premium product called Warhammer Plus. If I am paying for this, I should get access to all of the rules without having to buy the codices. And frankly, I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. We should get those rules as a thing. In fact, I've often said the way they do codices is wrong anyway. The army rules and all that should just be free. You should just throw out PDFs, everything in the app, all the rules should be free. And then the codex becomes a love letter to the army. That's where you put all your new lore. That's where you've got snippets from your best-selling books. That's where you've got, the first look at stuff coming out from Black Library. That's where you've got the artwork. That's where you've got the gorgeous photo mosaics of the armies in the Warhammer studio. People will pay for that. I will gladly shell out 50, 60 bucks for an art book of all my favorite armies all day, every day. It's don't give me 60 bucks worth of crappy rules that get immediately rewritten and nerfed with the thinnest little couple of blurbs of things that are the same thing that's been in every single codex for the last 5 editions. That sucks. We don't like that. That's why I always tell people, don't buy the codex. It is a waste of money. It sucks. It's stupid. So if they ever switch that model, I think they would sell way more. They really would. All of your competitive players would immediately subscribe to Warhammer Plus and pay whatever the fee is to unlock all the rules in the app. right? Like, and that, like, I could see that, right? Like, you pay well the rules in the app so that people want that functionality. Um, they're willing to do it, but the actual like PDF rules should just be free. And then, yeah, the codex is a hey, like you love this army. Here's everything that you love. We buy it all day long. All right, let's see where are we at here. So Hermator said that that's what Codex already is, that there's a huge chunk of outdated rules in there. It's got some art and some army photos. So what I'm talking about is, and I have the whole library. We've done a video on it where I put all 10 codexes out, plus all the supplements and stuff, and we went through them. A lot of the art is the same. So you open up the 10th edition codex, you see the same art and the same photos in the 9th and the 8th and the 6th, because 7th didn't get an update, right? Like, they just keep reusing things. They put very little new stuff in each codex. And then the army photos, they don't do enough of. You get like 2 or 3 different army photos. You get like the one of the combat patrol, you get one of like their recommended army, and then you get like one of the studio army, and that's like it, right? I'm saying, like, give me all of them. I want to see the Warhammer studio in the UK at Nottingham. I want to see a photo of their entire Bad Moons army. I want to see a photo of their entire Goths army. I want to see a photo of their entire Death Skulls army. Like, put all of them in the book. That is what I want. That would be amazing. All right, little update on the funding here. We got 19 minutes left to get in there. Again, I know we're at like the 15, with including the blues, which I really, 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 really do appreciate. But YouTube isn't going to count it unless we actually get 15 of the greens or higher. If you guys can, it would be super duper awesome. If you're not into the super chats, you can always give out channel memberships. In case you haven't noticed, when you look at the comments, there are some people's names who are gray and some who are green. Green are channel members, and a lot of the channel members were actually gifted memberships by other members. It's one of the ways to grow a channel, which is super duper rad. And then, of course, you can always go to the redonesgofasta.com and pick yourself up some sweet merch so that you've got drip like old Big Mac here, including the original Go Fasta shirt by BenBam and the brand spanking New Year More Orc shirt by our brand new artist, which is really, really cool. So we now have 3 different artists on the shirt, four, including me. I keep forgetting that I'm an artist. I did this. Every single pixel on that is hand drawn by me. So yeah, like, we've got 4 different artists plus the Goth Rockers that did our music. So you are supporting real artists who do real things, real projects. And we are working with one other new artist right now for our summer shirt. So my goal is we're actually going to have a new design every quarter. So for spring, even though kind of spring already sprung, you know what I mean? But for the first part of the year, I don't know, kind of carried over. Basically, Orktober, we had the Orktober shirt. A little bit after that, we got the Mordaka shirt, which was kind of winter. Spring is the New Year More Orc shirt. And then in summer, we are going to have a summer special shirt. And well, let me just say, you're going to have some guns out for that one. So yeah, expect summer tank tops and cool stuff like that. Just like we introduced hoodies, and full zip hoodies and beanie caps in winter, we are now going to have swimwear and like beach loungewear and stuff like that for the summer shirt. So yeah, we're going to have a new shirt every single quarter. I'm hoping to work with a new artist at least a couple of times a year, because having variety is really important. And also, all of these shirts are not special edition. We're gonna keep going with them forever. Now, I know the October ones we stopped, but that's because they said October 2025 on them. We are working with BenBam to redo the Orktober logo and turn it into a permanent edition come this fall. So you already know what the fall shirt is. Fall is going to be the next Orktober shirt, and then that one will stay permanently. And that's going to be the idea. Is every year we're going to try to do 4 different shirts, at least a couple of new artists, along with a couple of returning bangers, and just kind of keep growing that product line. Now, the reason why we're doing this, I know a lot of you are probably wondering, like, oh, Big Mac, you're always talking about how you're beer and pretzels, and like this isn't your job. You're not doing this. Why are you doing all these things like regular YouTubers? Well, for those of you that don't know and are not on our Patreon or in our members only section on Discord, which, by the way, if you are a YouTube member, even if you've been gifted a membership, you are welcome to join the members only section of the Discord. Just shoot me a DM in Discord. Let me know your username at both things, and I will get you in there. But if you are on Patreon or on the members only section of the Discord, you will know about a certain project that I keep hinting at. We can't talk a lot about it in the clear because what has happened is we have paid a huge amount of money. We are talking 4 digits worth of money to do something legally that would allow us to have a product line come back to the fans, if you know what I mean. If you want to learn more, go check out our Patreon, linked in the description, or come check out the members only section of the Discord, and I can tell you all about it. Kind of not necessarily behind closed doors, but a little bit access limited so that old James Workshop doesn't sniff his nose in there. But let me tell you, it's going to be epic, and I cannot wait to get this IP back in the hands of enthusiasts, where we will protect it and love it for all time and keep it from the grubby fingers of those billion-dollar private equity-owned businesses that are not the cool counterculture punk rockers that we grew up with. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Durhammer says, I'd get a take, but that's buried too much in the Arizona sun. Ooh, what's a Baja? I don't know what that is, Durham. Tell me what that is. But the sun shirts, the like SPF blocking shirts, we're gonna have that style as well. Because skin cancer is no joke. Mama Mech had skin cancer multiple times, and so did Sister Mech. So that is like a very big deal in my family. That's part of why I'm kind of so pale. I make sure I am covered up in sunscreen when I go outside. I don't want the skin cancer either. So yeah, we will definitely be doing those big SPF cover shirt things as well. But yeah, all sorts of fun summary stuff. Defluce and Nashers. Ooh, Mr. Khan, I know the answer. Ooh, bucket hats, Protean Geek. You got it, my friend. Bucket hats are in. For those of you that don't know, a lot of our merch is actually like pseudo designed by you guys or requested by you guys. So like when we did the Go Fasta shirt, this original design here, we had this right here. And everyone was like, dude, we want a black shirt. But the original design was in black. You couldn't really print the black on the black. So we redid the design in white and put it on a black shirt. In fact, it's right here. This, which is still to this day our best-selling shirt of all time. I mean, this thing is just came from you guys. And then when we did the full zip, everyone's like, oh, you got to do the full zip. Like it needs to be a black full zip with that logo. And so we've got this logo in big on the back and then the little on the front, on one of the chest pieces. That's where that came from. And then Red Squig, I did all the Red Squig stuff in the like original OG Red Bull colors. You either had like the navy or the bright blue, or like the silvery gray. And everybody was like, dude, you need to make a green shirt. And I'm like, really? Like a green Red Squig shirt? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay. I made one. We sold like 25 green shirts in the first week. Like, it's insane. So if there's something you guys want, literally tell me. And I will make it happen because that is the really cool thing about this merch that we're doing. Because this is not our first line of merch. The first line of merch we made local, and that was terrible. They do the screen printing where like the whole thing is like kind of basically the industrial version of an iron-on. It was really sweaty and nasty, and then it would also like come apart in the washing machine really quick. Some of the other really big YouTube channels still do that. I have a Trapped Under Plastic shirt that I loved dearly that just disintegrated and was, not good merch. But then we did our first drop shipper, but the first drop shipper was only in the US and they were kind of terrible. We had so many problems and feedback from customers going, I didn't get my stuff. These guys are trouble to work with. So we found a new partner, and the new partner is literally worldwide. So like we can now sell to Australia, New Zealand with stuff made in Australia. We can sell to Europe and the UK with stuff made in the EU or in the UK, right? Like they're all over the world now. We sold to 14 different countries last year. We didn't even sell for the full year. And already the first 3 months of this year, we've sold to, I believe it was 10 the last time I checked. It might have gone up since then. We're not even one full year into this type of merch from this vendor. And it has been literally nothing but positive feedback. So, been super duper duper excellent. But that also means that because it's made to order and I don't have to like carry a physical inventory anymore, behold the leftovers of physical inventory land, we can make things. So that's why we've got lady sizes and grot sizes and all these different colors, because they're going to make it when you order it. So if there's something you guys want to try, I'm happy to try it because it doesn't cost anything for me to like put the new design together and then put it up there for you to order. Right. So that's the really cool thing. So bucket hats, definitely a thing. Memory fit hats for people with bigger heads than DACA. So these are the trucker style. You're saying you don't want the trucker style. You want the like the stretchy band in the back. Is that what you're saying when you say memory hats? If you guys have links to like example products, throw them in the chat. I will definitely look at them personally. 100% of this stuff is me. I get the designs from our artists or myself. I put them on the stuff. I work with the company that prints it to like get the sizes and all that kind of stuff right. Pick colors. I run it by the grots. So there's a couple of teenagers that are going, hey, that's cool, drip or not, which is I think part of why our stuff is so cool. And then we actually get stuff made and brought in and like quality control check it first before putting it out there for all of you guys to buy. So but I am happy to make that. But hey, Ted Bobo is late. What did you miss? All sorts of stuff. You missed throwing up a super chat where we've got 9 minutes left. Where our goal is if we get 15 of them, I'm going to auction off the box, the actual leak box on eBay. We're going to start it at $1 with no reserve. So that's what we're going to do if we hit 15 super chats. We're really, really, really close. We actually did 15, including the blue ones, but apparently the blue ones didn't count. We're almost to 15, including the blue ones. Hey, Protean Geek says, get here from Australia, and they are great quality and well priced. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, if you guys haven't looked at the web store lately, if you've bought stuff and sent me images of you wearing it, you are now literally in the photo galleries. We like to show that this is real stuff being ordered by real people. It's not a bunch of AI slop. It's not a bunch of Photoshops. It's real deal things. So a lot of you are now real legit, real life models. How cool is that? Homestead Dork, I'm usually nervous about ordering hats because my head is ridiculously big and empty. Well, I can't say anything about the empty, but I got a pretty big head and I still have a lot of room to go on my personal hat. So they do get out pretty big, but there is sizing listed on all of our stuff in both, Freedom Eagle units and actual real world metric units. So you should be able to look at those and get an idea of if the stuff fits or not. If it doesn't, just let me know. Shoot me an email. It's oldbigmac@gmail.com. I freely talk about that all the time. Oldbigmac@gmail.com. You get me. It doesn't like go through a service. It's not an AI chatbot. It's literally me. Or DM me on Discord. There's almost 1,000 of you in the Discord, and I'm just right there. All I gotta do is tag me or DM me. I'll answer anybody and everybody because I am in this for the community. And yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions, help you guys out, whatever you need. It's made by the company Black Clover. Okay, I'll have to take a look at that, Nandanka. Oh, DeFlucinasha says a lot of my favorite hats don't have the plastic snap connector on the back. Oh, the small metal buckle. Yes. Oh, I do have one like that, and that is really, really nice. Okay. I am going to do some work, and we're going to see about upgrading our hat game then, giving you guys some more options for that, because that would be cool. Pizza Mac 87 said, what about beanies? My friend, we have beanies. Not only do we have beanies, they are the coolest, if you know, beanie. These things rock. So it's one of the Red Squigs, just one, all by himself, done up in the Red Bull style. I have worn this like to like rally car events sponsored by Red Bull and had reps be like, yo, where'd you get that? That's a really nice one. And been like, you don't know. This is the coolest beanie hat. I think this might be our only beanie cap so far. But yeah, if you guys really want beanie caps, let me know. It was kind of a winter thing, and now it's not winter, so I didn't do any more of them. But yes, we do have beanies. Merch idea, give us legally distinct Captain Zagstruck. I like it. Merch idea, come up with your own boss pole symbol. Oh, now see, now that gives me a YouTube video idea where we build a boss pole and then put like an LED sign on it and it like changes to whatever your clan is. That'd be kind of funny. Oh, Dirt Hermit says those knitted pullover hoodies you can buy in Southwest truck stops and native shops. Yeah, it's kind of like you say knitted, but it's like Mexican blanket style, right? And they're kind of like big poncho looking things. I'll have to look into that. I have to look into that. Oh, Pizza Mac, my friend, just started a new job and even advocating for taking a break during a full shift. Man, don't get me started into labor law violations. Old Big Mac here has personally won multiple labor law violation things. We don't mess around with that kind of stuff. That's Ooh, boss pole for your chair. I like it. Yeah, I can take out the headrest and replace it with a boss pole. Oh, okay. We're gonna have to do that. We can build the pole out of some scrap metal, and then I can make a big cardboard cutout thing with like the wrench and the skull and all that. That is an excellent video idea. We are so gonna do that. All right, we got less than 5 minutes to go on the super chat thing. So if you're gonna do it now so that it counts. I would super duper appreciate that. But we're gonna keep going tonight. There's, in case you haven't noticed, there's no Grotz in the house. Old Big Mac's just all by himself here. And if I'm not hanging out here with you guys, I'm going to start doing something stupid over there or in the actual mech shop. And next thing you know, there's going to be like flames coming out of the house and a supercharger on the blender or something like that. Okay. So this is a mutual two-way street here. You guys got to keep me out of trouble. So when Mrs. Mac gets home, I'm not in hot water. All right. Ooh, a Bad Moon's poncho would go hard. I mean, Fatson says to get on your Beaky Boys. Dude, you guys want to see? I'll show you the Beaky Boys. I've got them right here. So, again, for my own personal New Year, New Army, I'm doing my Beakies and specifically the sneaky Beakies. So these are all pretty much Phobos Marines. And they do Phobos-y things. I don't know where that guy was supposed to go. Well, that was embarrassing. We'll just we'll stick him there. There we go. So basically what it is I am doing a custom chapter. And in my custom chapter, they are all new style, actual tactical Space Marines. Hey, we got another one. Azamak, Quack. Thank you, my friend. Much appreciated. I think that puts us up to 9 or 10 on the official count and 15 on the unofficial count. I'm going to take the unofficial count. We're going to call that 15. I will put the War Boss up on eBay tonight, and I will tag everybody over on the Discord so that you guys can bid on it. And no reserve. Whoever wins it. And then you can own the actual leaked box. And you'll even still have it before 10th edition even drops. And you can show it off to all your friends. We'll use that to help with our little project, right? Blissful Badger, perhaps the magnet sold in place. Okay. Fair enough. Sidebar. For those of you that don't know, my own personal army situation as far as like storage and transport and stuff is tackle boxes. All of my junk is in tackle boxes, which is not the best idea because these newfangled minis with all sorts of bits on them rattle around and pop off and break and stuff. Hey, Megalosan, thank you, my friend. That puts us at 10 on the official count. Midwest War Games. Dude, you guys are rocking. We got a minute 14 left. We might actually hit this thing even on the official count. For the head banner, I love it. We will definitely do the head banner. That is a thing. Oh man. Oh, you guys are so close. You guys rock. I wish you could add more time to this thing. Unfortunately, they don't let you do that. Yeah, we're at 11 of 15 on the official count. We're way over 15 on the I could do I could you can remove the goal, but you can't add time to the goal or add to the goal. That's crazy. Anyways, all of my stuff is in tackle boxes, which is really bad for the minis. And frankly, not the smartest way in 2026 to carry your minis because now there's so many people making actual mini boxes designed for armies and stuff that are smart. And one of them uses trays, or a bunch of them use trays like this that are metal. Hey, Protean Geek, getting it done in there. Look at that. T minus 10 seconds to go before they launch this rocket. Does it say? I can't see. It doesn't say where we're at. Or does it? 12. We're at 12 of 15. Ah, it works. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Yeah, super rad. Anyways, so there's these boxes you could get, and a lot of them have gotten really affordable these days, but they have metal trays. And then what you do is you put a magnet on the bottom of all of your guys, and they sink down on the metal tray, and then you could slide the metal tray into the box, and then carry it with you. And a lot of these boxes they have like a clear front, really really cool. I am definitely upgrading this year. That is one of my goals. This is just a painting tray, not an army transport tray. So yes, I hear you. I should probably magnetize these guys and like buy those metal trays and stuff. But right now, all of my hobby dollars are going to that. Like I said, we're well into the four digits, and we have multiples of that more to go to finalize everything as it happens. So yeah, if we want to make this a thing, it takes a lot of that. So a lot of my personal stuff has been going by the wayside to make that happen. In fact, actually, sidebar to the sidebar to the sidebar. I've been going through my own personal Warhammer collections, and I have a lot of things I am getting ready to put up for sale. Some of it I will be selling on the Discord on our buy sell trade chat. But some of it is really uber collectible and will likely be going to like Mind Taker Minis or eBay. Again, just trying to raise as much as I can for our little hobby venture. Anyways, back to that was for the captain. What the captain? Oh, the captain is on the bench. This isn't even all the guys. But yeah, so then there's the war, your army transport box solutions to have the metal tray. I want to upgrade to those as I redo my armies and get them ready to go. So that's that. Back to the bees. So the beakies, they are all the new style stuff. They're all intercessors and newer. There is no firstborn stuff in my army at all. And the army is made up of kind of three different sections. You have like your regular line troops, which is all like your regular intercessors, assault intercessors, the new flame guys that came out with Leviathan, Infernus Marines, like those kind of guys. Basically, all of your regular tactical Marines. Then there is a heavy section. The heavy section is the siege section. That's everything in like Gravis and Terminator armor. They're the ones that come in to really break something down. And I should premise my own personal custom chapter specializes in city sieges. They are going into those Imperium planets that have strayed from the Emperor's light and have decided to do their own thing. Or maybe it's Tau City or an Eldar city, but urban. They go into urban environments and break stuff. So there's like a siege component, there's a line component, but then these are the sneaky guys, and the sneaky guys go in before the main force and really kind of get things set up. So a bunch of Discord and whatnot, and potentially do all of their fighting shadow style, and the rest of the force doesn't even come out. In fact, the whole chapter. In my personal lore that I've been coming up with, the majority of the chapter is sneaky and is sneaky bees. And their whole point is to not exist, is for people to not know that they are there. They are very tactical, very, Squid Team 6 kind of a deal. And the whole point is they are there to like take out planetary governors that are, a little corrupt. without, bringing notice to it. So when you need something above a single assassin, but you don't quite want to like shut down your whole manufacturing planet because you need them to like be pumping out corpse starch, right? That's what these guys are for. So the sneaky portion here is going to have a different paint scheme than everybody else. And then everybody else is going to have like the standard paint scheme. So I really like this idea. Where that comes from is like Dark Angels. I really love the way that Dark Angels armies look, where you have all the regular guys are green, and then the Deathwing is white, and the Raven Wing is black. I really like that. So that's going to be this. The regular army is going to be a regular color. All the sneaky guys are going to be a much more muted version of the color. I'm leaning toward green, but we'll see. And then my siege component might be a little bit brighter colored, or might have a little bit different of an armor look to it, just because I love the way that those three colors look. But that is the long and short of it. But this is where I started my journey, was with these guys. So in the Raven Wing Combat Patrol, which is what I bought for this project, there were these guys, which were the infiltrators or incursors. You could build them either way. I already had a squad of infiltrators built and ready to go, but I did not have any incursors, so I built them as incursors instead. So now I have 10 full infiltrators and 10 full incursors. And the way I built my squad is they have all the options, because rule of cool is that's what matters. But I very clearly have the leader, that's the sergeant. But in both squads, I have kind of like the NCO. He's the three striper. He's the lance corporal. So if I want to split the squads up into 2 squads of 5, I have like a sub leader in my squad that can do that. So again, the squads are designed to be the full meal deal squad of 10 with all the options. But if I wanted to, I could split them up into the 2 squads of 5 using that NCO option. So to give you an idea, let me put this down so I don't actually drop them, and then we'll so this guy is the actual incursor sergeant. Okay, so he is the brand new one that I just built for the incursor squad. You can see he's got the tactical go that way thing. He's holding his bolter, really cool looking. He is just a rad dude, right? So the next in line guy is not him. I haven't painted them yet, so he doesn't have the cool head going on, so that you would know that. Oh, okay. But to give you an idea of like, this is the comms specialist guy with the comms arm, right? So he's in the squad. Okay. See, they got all mixed up when I moved the thing. That's what happened, because it's not him. Aha, it's him. There we go. He got moved to the background. This is the Lance Corporal. So he's not actually all that differently done than the regular dudes, but he is a little bit done because he is the only one to have both his pistol and his weapon, his main gun out. Everybody else either has just the main gun out or just the pistol out. So by him having both, that's what allows me to pick him out as the Lance Corporal on the battlefield. So when I run him in the full squad of 10, he totally counts as one of the regular dudes. But when I want to split into the 2 squads of 5, he could do that. The infiltrators, the same way. This is the infiltrator sergeant. So once again, same thing. All the sergeants are doing the hand moves on the tactical side, on the sneaky beaky side, because that's cool. And then the second in command guy is this dude right here. So he is taking an order from the sergeant in his little earpiece, going, "Hey, we need to split up. You guys go that way. We'll go that way." That is him. So that's what he's doing. And then so that's what those squads are doing. So now I have 20 dudes with the 10 infiltrators and the 10 incursors. And then previously done, so these were guys that were already done, that have now become part of this part of the army. I've got a squad of Reavers, 5 of them, with the full jump packs with the little wings, because I think they're stinking cool, with the close combat get up. So I got 5 of those. And then I've got 5 that are the same thing. They're the Reavers, but with the guns, but they still have the cool backpacks and stuff. So 2 different squads of those. And then I've got a couple of the lieutenants. So it's the lieutenant in Gravis armor, the lieutenant in Reaver armor, and then the librarian in Phobos, who is really sick. This guy is from the this is from Leviathan, wasn't he? A Leviathan launchbox. Super love him. So none of my army has robes. There's no tabards. There's no robes. There's nothing like that. There is only camo cloaks. This guy is very much wearing a camo cloak. And then I have like the Eliminators. They are also in the camo cloak. And that's what I'm going to do. So when I say like green, if I end up doing green as my main color scheme, these guys are going to be like a really, 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 really dark green, or they'll be like black with a green shoulder pad or something like that. And then the cloaks are all going to be urban camo. So no matter what the paint scheme is on the actual army, all the cloaks are camo cloaks. And I did camo cloaks on my Eldar snipers. They're not raiders. What the heck are they? Can't remember what they're called, but there's that new Rangers, Eldar Rangers. I did my Eldar Ranger squad in a jungle camo that turned out just perfection. And then I have the Gaunt's Ghost kits also in camo cloaks. So I'm a big fan of camo cloaks. But yeah, so these guys are going to have urban camo cloaks. And then I also have a captain in Phobos armor who's over there getting his head chopped off. And then these Raptor dudes. I forget what they're actually called. But these guys, they're not Phobos. They are regular intercessor. I have a hard time figuring out if they should be part of this army or not. I want to put them in because they've got the same little flappy doos that the Reavers do. So I could see them getting like drop potted in or rappelling down in, even though they're not in a Phobos style army or armor. But yeah, the suppressors. Let me know, do you guys think the suppressor should be part of the sneaky squad or not? Yeah, that's where we are. So 10 cursors, 10 infiltrators, 10 reavers, but it's 2 different squads of 5. The 3 eliminators, the 3 suppressors, 2 lieutenants, a captain, and a librarian. That is what the army is looking like right now. So still to build, I have 5 jump pack intercessors and a jump pack captain. I don't think they're going to be part of the sneaky part, though. I think they're going to be in the standard section. And then I have the big walker thing, the Invictor Tactical Warsuit. That's going to be in the Siege Breaker portion. So that's why I haven't built those, is because my goal was to get the Sneaky Beaky portion done. So as soon as I'm done converting my captain, this portion of the army is completely done. They're going to get undercoated black. And then I've got a couple of test models that are just other random beakies that I'm going to be doing my test schemes on as I'm trying to figure out what paint scheme to do. And then I'm hoping to have these guys all painted. That is my true goal, is to get this portion of the army done so that I can do, I think it's like 1,000 points or 1,200 points, something like that. But I could do like a smaller size game using just sneakies. So that's where I'm at on beakies, if you cared. Magusta Pastel, this is heresy. What? I gotta have somebody for my orcs to fight against. They get bored only fighting other orcs. All right, I've got 17,000 points of orcs. Okay, granted, only 10,000 of it's built painted, but still, there's a lot of orcs. I have literally one of everything that they make. So there's only so much you can do. I gotta have something for them to fight against. So yeah, so some beakies, so that there's something else to fight against. Dabbit Studios, Leviathan had Terminator armor librarian. Oh, you're right. Yes. So Phobos librarian, he came from Shadow Spear. There was a really cool, back when they did the double army boxes, like Blood of the Phoenix and Wake the Dead and stuff. They had one called Shadow Spear that was Chaos versus Beakies, and the Beaky half was all Phobos. That's where all those Phobos guys came from, because like the captain in Phobos armor and the lieutenant Phobos armor were like special editions from that set, and so were the suppressors. And that was the only way you could get the suppressors, was that half of the box. Games Workshop has since re-released most of that half of the box. I think it's missing 2 or 3 characters, and that's it. But the suppressors and the eliminators are definitely in there, and you could buy that from Games Workshop Direct for less than the cost of a combat patrol. It was like one of my most hyped, money-saving, excellent idea things back in the holidays was, hey, don't spend $140 on combat patrol. Go to Games Workshop's web store and spend $109 on this half of Shadow Spear that is beakies, and get suppressors and get eliminators and get infiltrators and get these really cool characters and stuff, because it's a way cooler combat patrol and way cooler models for way less money. Jump troops, all that, those winglets, I think. Protein Geek, are you saying that the jump pack troopers should be in the sneaky portion? I could possibly get on board with that. Maybe I should build the 5 jump pack guys and then make my decision. Because the only, well, 6, because then there's the captain. The only true jump pack guys I own are those guys, because the suppressors aren't really jump packs. They're grab shoots. And then same thing with the what the heck are they? The Gravis ones are in different way giant jump pack things. So they're different. So yeah, maybe I should put the regular jump pack guys in with the sneakies. Plus, then they'd be black, which looks really cool. You know, like Death Company in black. You know, has the big jet pack on it. Like those always looked really cool. I like it. Oh, Dirt Hermit, Rattlings and Hawaiian shirts. Oh, okay. So I have the Rattling squad that came in that Kill Team set with the Rekka crew. I had bought it like individually when I went and toured all the different local game stores, and I was going to turn them into Grot snipers. Right now, I'm going to turn them into Grot snipers with Hawaiian shirts, because that is hilarious, and I'm totally stealing that because I am a dirty, dirty Death Skull. Haven't you seen the blue? McFatson says jump Gravis guys are so cool. I may use them as a Sanguinary Guard. Okay, the Sanguinary Guard are not great. I will fully get on board with that. And yes, the Gravis jump troops are so cool. In fact, I have them right here under my feet. I literally use this as a footstool. I have so much Warhammer junk in here in my cave that yeah, it is literally underfoot. This is a Gravis jump pack guy. In case you haven't seen it, they have this really cool giant hood thing over their helmet, and then their backpack has flaps on flaps, and then their armor has these huge foot thingies, these skis, so that they can like land and crush things. I was not going to make these guys sneaky, because there's nothing sneaky about this thing, this unit falling out of the sky on top of you. But they came with these plasma versions, which this was the full glue kit. There was also a snap kit version that only came with bolters. The full glue came with the bolters or the plasmas. Always build it as the plasma, because you could still buy the bolter guys really, really cheap as the push fit style. So I got 3 of the push fit with bolters and 3 of the glue fit with plasmas. But yeah, those guys, I agree, are super duper rad. I really like Gravis. I don't like heavy intercessors. I think those are weird. Like, why not just like make everything Gravis? I don't get that. Why is there heavy intercessor and Gravis? Like, what's the difference? I don't get that. Anyways. Ooh, do red ones go faster Hawaiian shirt? Oh, I like that. I like that idea. We'll really have to come up with something good for that. That would be excellent, though. We could have like squigs and grots, maybe hula grots, coconuts. I like this. I like where this is going. See, this is why we've got to run a company together, because you get to have the greatest ideas, and then we can make them happen and get all the artists together, the production together, and yeah, it's going to be epic. The Inceptors are basically jump pack Terminators. Yeah, dude, they are. I love them. They are definitely some of my favorites. That was, again, a big part of what got me back into 40K was when they came out with all these. And I was like, dude, that's sick. Where was that when I was a kid? Where was that when I was younger? I really like that concept. That's why I'm not a big fan of them going back to like just making basic beakies again. Protein Geek says heavy intercessors are Gravis. They're just battle line Gravis.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Because all the Gravis guys up to heavy intercessors were special, right? You had like eliminators and inceptors and stuff like that. And but you didn't have like just a regular line squad of Gravis dudes. I don't know that you want a line squad of Gravis dudes though. That was kind of the point. Was Gravis was when you needed heavier armor for a bigger punch. If you're wearing heavier armor and you're just carrying a regular bolter, you ain't nothing. Like you're not punching through anything. You're just taking damage for the sake of taking damage. Daka says we need a 40K orc movie. Hey, one project at a time, okay? One project at a time. If they released Inceptors with flamers, I would abandon the entire rest of my army. Ooh, that would be such a killer Salamanders unit too. I love it. Ooh, hidden Daka on the Hawaiian shirts. Ooh, we should do like a whole line of Hawaiian shirts, like to really do it properly. I mean, could you imagine one that's like car style, but it's got all the different orc buggies on it or something like that, right? And then one that's all squigs. Like, we could get crazy with that. You can get crazy with that. Oh, Calvin Ryder, midnight there. Yep. I like I said, it's just me here. There's no Grotz and no Mrs. Mech to keep me occupied. So if I'm not chatting with you guys, I'm gonna end up doing something stupid and starting a project. And yeah, they're gonna come home to like a supercharger with flame pipes on it, on the microwave or something like that. So because I'm a big mech in real life. That's the whole problem. But yeah, as always, we'll put this up when we're done chatting live so that you guys can watch this anytime. What does that say? Engage with it. Members only live stream. No, we ain't doing that. YouTube just suggested that I switch the live stream over to members only now that we've been doing it for an hour. And I'm like, no, I don't want to paywall anything. Again, the only reason that we've paywalled that is to protect us until our application is finalized. Then that'll all be out in the open too. That is the only reason that is held kind of behind closed doors. Yeah, we don't like doing that. We don't like doing that. Oh, hey, Azamak, going back up a little bit. Azamak says he just remembered a dumb kit bash idea I had involving the Warboss for one of the Black Templar kits and a jump pack. Oh, okay. That sounds cool. I like the sound of that. I like the sound of that. Approve of the urban camo. Hey, McFatson, thank you for that. McFatson approved of the urban camo with the super chat, and I missed it. Super appreciate that. Yeah, urban camo is definitely happening. No matter what paint scheme I do the guys in, urban camo is happening. And here's where I'm going with paint scheme. And I'm going to do a whole video on this because paint scheme applies to no matter what army you're doing, especially if you're doing a custom paint scheme, right? Like it's one thing to like you open the book and you go, oh, I really like Blood Angels or I really like Evil Sons or whatever. You're going to paint red and call it done. But if you want to come up with your own or even just your own twist on it, really thinking about it and coming up with it before you start painting is really, 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 really important. This is something that Best Grot is struggling with. He started a new Imperial Guard army. We have reprimed them 3 times now because he keeps changing his mind on what colors to paint them. And trying to get him locked down into something is really hard. But I keep trying to tell him, like, buddy, let's take these 5 guys here and paint each one different on purpose and like come up with your color scheme. But he keeps repainting the same guy. And I'm like, but bud, if you only paint the one guy, you don't remember what he originally looked like. You want to paint different guys so you can put them all side by side by side and go, okay, here's the purple dude, here's the green dude, here's the blue dude, here's the yellow dude. Which one do I like best side by side by side? And that's how you make the decision. But when it comes to my army, I want to do a callback to all of my past Space Marine armies. So when I very, 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 very first started my own Warhammer 40K, I bought the 3rd edition launch box right as it launched, the special one that had the little metal Black Templar captain in it. I did not want to do Black Templars because even though the artwork on the front, the John Blanche painting was amazing, none of the guys in there looked anything like those dudes. And the ones on the back of the box that were painted like Black Templars looked super lame. So I remember this is pre-Black Templar Codex. So the ones in the back were literally just all black with a white shoulder pad with the cross on it. And then they had a silver gun. It wasn't even a red gun or a yellow gun or anything. It was just silver. Like, it's just super boring. Anyways,
I was originally going to go Crimson Fists. I really liked the artwork from second edition. I had the second edition, Space Marine Codex that had the big Imperial fist on it, with the big red fist, up on the pile of guys. I love that they fought against orcs. That was what I really wanted to do from the get go. Is I was trying to find an old second edition starter kit to get all the orcs to start the orc army, and then get all the beakies together and make a Crimson Fist army. I just wasn't able to make it happen for whatever reason, and started building the Dark Eldar stuff. But my original Beaky army was like a Kelly green color because I couldn't do orcs. I still wanted to paint green because green is best. So I painted my Space Marines, their armor green. They had white trim and then like some black detailing and stuff like that, like the little bags and grenades and stuff. They look pretty cool. But then a hurricane came, really big Category 5, Hurricane Floyd, which was so big and so gnarly at the time. When it went over the Cat Island, it actually kind of cut it in half. It like made a new channel in it and turned it into the Cat Islands. Like this thing was headed right for me. We thought everything was going to be destroyed. And my very first army that had gotten started basically got destroyed. Our house survived and all that stuff. We were okay. We did have to evacuate a couple of states away and then come back and whatnot. But my army didn't make it that well. I was able to fix almost all the Dark Eldar guys. I was not able to fix all the Space Marines. And so when I redid them, they weren't green anymore. I actually ended up redoing all of them in a sky blue color. And I changed the name of the chapter and all that stuff. Originally, they were called the Strikers, and they had their green shoulder pads had like a white and black like lightning bolt on it. It was on the decal sheet. So you had like all the little Ultramarine U's and all the little blood angel things. They had these little lightning bolts that I think were on the knee pads. And I stole the lightning bolts and put them on there. And then I had like the triangle with the like squad number on it. So like if it was a tactical squad, it had the triangle pointed up, and then it would have like a black 1 or a 2 or a 3. That's how all my guys were. So they had like white detailing with the black lightning bolt, and then like white detailing with the black number. And they were called the Strikers, right? That was really cool. But anyways, they all died before I even got them finished. Rebuilt everything, painted them all a really light sky blue color, called them the Skyhawks or something like that, and used the bird head that was again on the decal sheet. But this bird head was from the Imperial Guard decal sheet. My cousin played Imperial Guard. He played Catachan. He cut out all the Catachan stuff. He had all the leftover decals. He gave them to me. I was like, sweet, I got all these eagle heads. I'm gonna do the something hawks, right? And Seahawks, whatever. I can't remember what they were. And so they were the sky blue color with these hawks. And then they had bright red weapons. And they were very clashy. I think I was like a big Richard Petty fan at the time or something like that. So it was very like kind of looked like, the King from the Cars movie, like the sky blue with the red circle. It was kind of like that. It was not great. It was not great. I'll fully admit it was not great. But then they were that. And then the Black Templar Codex or the Codex Armageddon came out. And Black Templar became a thing with like close combat weapons. And then I completely destroyed my army again, converted everybody to Black Templar, painted them all up to Black Templar. When I got out of Warhammer 40K at the end of 6th edition, I sold the Black Templar. They disappeared. They are gone. I have looked for them a couple of times, never to be seen again. I'm sure they were all redone. But looking back at my photos, they weren't nearly as cool in reality as they are in my head. So I don't need to go back there anyway. But yeah, so my original army went green to blue to black. And then these guys have just been gray plastic forever. So part of me wants to meme into it, paint them gray, right? So those are like the 4 different color areas that I'm going. I don't really want to do black outside of maybe the sneaky guys, because painting that much black is kind of boring and kind of sucks. I've already had a Black Space Marine army. I don't want a Black Space Marine army again. So yeah, like the idea of visiting the Strikers and doing green, even if it was more like an OD green or a camo green this time, would be really cool. So kind of leaning that way. I also kind of really liked my blue idea, my blue gray idea. So I was thinking of like painting the regular army blue, and then painting, the sneaky guys like a really, really, really muted dark blue, like even darker, more muted than this. I thought that would be kind of really cool. Plus also in between the green and the light blue, or maybe it was in between the light blue and the black, at least one squad got painted dark blue with white from the knee pads down, and another squad was dark blue with yellow from the knee pads down. And I can't remember what I was thinking of. I think it was I really, really, really liked the Iandin and Aliatok Craft World Eldar armies. But I was doing my Eldar as Othway, the black and white ones. But then I ended up, redoing my Space Marines as Black Templars. And I didn't want two black armies, so I undid all the Othway. And yeah, I was gonna. I don't know. I can't. I was. Now I know where I did a lot of repainting in my youth. I'm just realizing this makes a lot of sense now. I should talk to him about that. But yeah, so you can see why coming up with a paint scheme that you're going to stick with is a really big deal, especially if you're going to have a big army and you want it to all look cohesive. With my orcs, the vast majority of them are evil sons. And as you guys know, my evil sons are red with orange trim instead of yellow trim. And that bright, like McLaren papaya orange is like my signature color, and all of my stuff has some of it on there. And then all of my new looted kits are in death skulls because I got tired of painting red. So now I've got some blue orcs coming on that are looted, and they do not have the orange. They are completely their own thing. So that's been a lot of fun to do, but I'm not repainting any of my orcs, even like the ones that I'm going to convert and glow up to 11th edition specs are going to be the original paint scheme. I'm only going to paint whatever new thing I add onto them. I'm not stripping or redoing any of my stuff. I like the way they look now. I love that this army is very big and cohesive, despite being wildly painted different, because it does use the same colors everywhere. So I want to get that locked down for my beakies. So we'll see if they're going to end up green or blue or gray. Those are the three directions I'm going at the moment. See, McFadden is just figuring out what to paint as Chaos Marines, Emperor Children style, black with silver trim, pink energy highlights. I like that. I like the Emperor's Children paint job styles, even though I don't necessarily like the minis. I really liked the old school Noise Marine that was like the 80s hair rocker dude. So the new style ones, I don't know. They don't do it for me, but a lot of the chaos is like that. Like I like the Death Guard, and I loved helping Veskrot get his Death Guard army up, but I have no interest in doing my own Death Guard army. Plus, Warboss Fred, who you've seen on the channel before, he's got a sick Death Guard army, and he does it more like the old school Death Guard style, where they're like a cream colored armor with the green shoulder pad, and then he puts all the rod on them. Dude, they to the nine. So I already know of two really cool Death Guard armies. I don't need to add mine to it. But then, yeah, like Thousand Suns, I love the lore of Thousand Suns. I love that they're like dust in the wind inside those things. I hate the models. They do nothing for me. Like the whole range. I have yet to meet a Thousand Suns model that I like, despite loving the lore and loving the artwork. Same thing with Khorne. I really like Khorne. How could you not? It's like the chaos version of an orc, right? Like blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne, like smashing things up, getting into close combat is rad. Some of the models are kind of okay-ish, but yeah, they really don't do anything. Like I have zero interest in building and painting a bunch of Khorne berserkers. Like that, just no. So Emperor's Children is the same way. However, the new Red Corsairs, the ones that are regular chaos without any mutations, for some reason, absolutely does it for me. I really like those. Plus the whole idea of getting him in with chaos cultists and renegades and stuff, because that ultimately what I really want is a Lost in the Damned army. I read way too much Dan Abnett as a kid and as a young adult, and I really, really, really like Blood Pact and the idea of chaos cultists and like regular humans falling to chaos versus super soldiers falling to chaos. So I want way more cultists than anything else, but a handful of Red Corsairs would be super sick in that army. But I do really like the paint jobs that the Emperor's Children are doing. The black with the screaming pink is actually really cool. Shady Stinks, get a bunch of jackals and make a Digga army. I am going to add some Diganovs to my army. I got my hands on a couple of Oberons, and like knowing all the old Gorka Morka lore and stuff like that, and Diganovs and things, Having some of those would be really cool. So I'm definitely thinking about adding some of those into my army just to have because I think that they're really, really rad. Especially with my new Death Skulls, the whole every kit's an orc kit thing. So it was like, oh, I can make a knob squad out of ogrins and just have them as Digonobs. So that might be something coming in the future. Hurting Geek, you don't like the Mutalith Vortex Beast? I don't even know what that is, but I'm gonna go with no. I probably don't like it. Honestly, that's part of my problem with like Age of Sigmar. The Spearhead rules look amazing. I actually really enjoy the Age of Sigmar lore. The artwork is wild. Um, and I love the concept of a lot of the armies, but the actual models fall really flat for me for some reason. Like I don't really care for any of the Stormcast Eternals. I don't really care for any of the chaos stuff. I don't really care for any of the undead stuff. Um, the trees are kind of okay. The elves are kind of okay. I don't know, man. There's something about that style that just doesn't do it for me. It's not a bad thing. Everybody's into different things, right? I know there's a lot of people don't like the orc style. They don't like things that are hodgepodge together and rusty or things like that. Like I get it. It's different strokes for different folks. It's just me personally. It doesn't do anything for me. Death by Chair says, I try my best to keep my army schemes very different for variety's sake. My Chaos Space Marines are word bearers, red plus silver. Very nice. Like the word bearers. Approved. Blood Angels are black and steel. Ooh. Are they still Blood Angels or are you a successor chapter? And I ask because I've done a Blood Angel army myself. I like the Blood Angels, but Flesh Tearers are better. I would love to do a modern Flesh Tearers army. In fact, all of my Space Marines that have the robes and tabards, I am holding on to them to make probably a Flesh Tearers army out of. And then Tau are white and yellow. Ooh, that's interesting. And then the orcs are good old bad moons. Well, but bad moons are yellow, so how yellow can your Tau be? But yeah, I'm with you. So that's obviously my orcs, green skin, and then all the armor is red with the orange trim, right? So lots of green, lots of red. My Imperial Guard were green, but they were OD green, right? Like not orc skin green. So very, very different. And then then like snow camo and stuff like that. And so that was really different. And then my Eldar, they are on a jungle world, and so all the camo cloaks are jungle, and all the basing stuff is jungle. And then all their leather is natural browns, and then their armor is purple, and it's purple and yellow, and so that like gave me a totally different color. And so yeah, when I'm like sitting back and looking at my armies and thinking about like what the future holds, I want everything to be different. So like if I ever do Lost in the Damned Chaos Cultist, it's gonna be black and red. It's gonna look like Blood Pact. So I'm saving black for that. My Imperial Guard, if I ever come back to them, let's skip that. Let's not go there. But my Eldar are probably going to stay purple. There's part of me that kind of goes back and forth between doing Eandon still because I still really, really, really like Eandon. Story time. I built and painted an Eldar army a couple of times, and the last one was Eandon, and it was I had gotten a gigantic collection from somebody that was multiple forces, and it had an Eandon and a Bealton army in it. And I took the Bealtons, fixed them all up, finished painting the ones that were like half done and stuff like that, and then sold off the whole army. And I was going to keep the Eandons for myself. And so I took all the Eandons that he had done. I finished them. I really got them looking good. And it was like a couple of squads of Wraith Guard, a couple of squad of Wraith Blades, a couple of Wraith Lords, bunch of Spirit Seers and Farseers and stuff like that. So it was all the little ghosty guys. I loved them to death. They looked fantastic, and I had to sell them. I needed money at that point in time. I was in between jobs, and to take care of the Grats and the fam was the most important thing. And I actually sold the Eandon army, and I sold my Tau army. Again, I've done multiple Tau armies over the years. That Tau army was a dark blue and red. I very much painted them like Crimson Fists. Just their fists weren't red. It was like the trim around the outside of the drones was the red. And then stuff like that. And they looked sick. Blue Tau can look really cool. And it was all robots. There was like 2 squads of Reachers. Everything else is robots, bunch of Devilfishes, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I had to sell both complete armies. I have sold probably about a dozen full-size armies now on eBay. I've been selling on eBay since the 1990s. Just FYI, I have like a literal 30-year eBay badge on my eBay store. But yeah, I've sold multiple full-size armies on eBay. So I've sold my Black Templar, I've sold my Dark Eldar, I sold my original craft world Eldar. They were like gray and blue, like Yami Lock or something like that. I sold my Eondens, I sold the Bieltons, sold my Tau. So yeah, and I'm getting ready to sell a bunch of stuff again. But again, this time it's not because I have to; it's because I want to fund something else that is proving to be very, 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 very expensive. But yeah, so I want when I think about like what armies I'm keeping, what is left, I want them to be different colors. So my orcs are green skin, red armor, orange trim, right? That is their triad. Um, my Eldar are probably going to stick with the purple and yellow. Um, and the purple, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, like purple with the yellow. And then my Lost and Damned will be black with red. And then if I end up doing a Agents of the Imperium or something like that, we'll see what that dovetails into or what Imperial Guard guys left. And then I've got my Beakies. And so I really want my Beakies to be something very different. And that's kind of like as much as I want to do the green, I'm straying from the green because all of my Imperial Guard guys right now are green. They're green and white. They're Truscan Snowhounds, or they are Valhallans. Um, and even like my Armageddon Steel Legion that I have left over from back in the day, I had repainted all of them. They don't look like Armageddon Steel Legion anymore. They were a different chapter or a different regiment, and so like all of that stuff is like very OD green. And then the orc skin is all green. So like doing and then like the jungle bases, there's a lot of green in the jungle basing stuff for the Eldar. So doing green for Space Marines is just more green. Hence the like, well, maybe I should do them in blue. But now I've got this new little Death Skulls army that's blue. So it's like, oh, maybe I won't do blue. Maybe I'll do gray, just so it's something totally different. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. It says my eBay account is about as old as his Steam account. Nice. Chief Indian says no green, do other color. Nice. All right, Herminator says his orcs are red and yellow, CSM are blue, Drukari are green and purple, and Tower blue and red. At least I think that's correct. I'm partly colorblind. It sounds good. Sounds good to me. Checks out. Checks out. Oh, and then Saltia is doing his orcs blue and yellow like a Death Skull Bad Moon hybrid. I like that. Ooh, Dirt Hermit says if he gets an 11th edition box, we'll totally do Crimson Fist. I mean, as an orc fan, right? How can you not love Crimson Fists? Like the whole lore that orcs came to their planet and like literally decimated a Space Marine homeworld is nuts. Like how that hasn't become more into the lore, I don't know. Like they had every opportunity to bring him back. I think Crimson Fists are cool as heck. The couple of Black Templar guys that I've kept have been with the idea of making a Crimson Fist army, which is part of why I don't want to do blue on my Space Marines. Because again, all the guys with the robes and tabards and stuff might end up becoming Crimson Fist one day, or all the regular guys might become Crimson Fist one day. So actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, going back to my whole custom chapter thing, what if I did do them as Crimson Fists? The regular guys could all be the blue and red as the Crimson Fists, and then the sneaky beakies could be black with like a dark crimson fist instead of a bright red fist. Something like that could be really cool. Or like riffing on that on my own thing, right? Like maybe I do them green with an orange fist or something like that. No, I gotta think about that. I gotta think about that. The Floops and Nashers, buying and selling miniatures, how I ended up self-employed as an entrepreneur. It absolutely is, man. Buying, selling, flipping. That's how I grew up. That's how I got to where I am. I can't let it go. I love buying lots of things and going through all the gubbins and keeping all the best pieces for myself and like repairing things and getting an army out of it and selling it on to the next person. I've done it with cars. That's how I've managed to even be into the car hobby was by buying clunkers and things that didn't work and things that need a lot of mechanical work, doing all the mechanical work myself, and then selling that and using that money to fund the next car, like going bigger and bigger, right? So yeah, totally rad. And yeah, God, You gotta like a Crimson Fist. There's just something about everything that can fight orcs, right? Like I love Valhallans. They fought orcs. I loved Armageddon Steel Legion. They fought orcs. I love Crimson Fist because they fight orcs. Like everything is either orcs or whatever fights orcs. Those are the things I find the coolest. So I should just lean into it and have all of them. Yarick, hello, right? So by having all of these enemies for my orcs, it makes it more fun for them because they get to fight their favorite opponents instead of a bunch of wimpies, So yeah. Blissful Badger. I'm not going to go through all my armies. Fair, fair. Again, for those of you that missed it, if you haven't seen Blissful Badger's YouTube channel, you should totally check it out. His collection is wild. I love it to death. He's got like a whole basement finished out, and then it's like wall to wall with all the armies. Super love that setup. I would love to do that to my hole, even though my hole is small. That would be really, really cool. So yeah, super love watching his stuff. Hermit, he says he's an evil son, but he acts like a bad moon. Fun fact, I'm actually a death skull. I like them all. What can I say? Yeah, no, being into flipping things, being into like scrapping things. That's why I'm an old big mech and not an old war boss. Like that's where that comes from. Is the real life. I've said this before on the channel. My desktop that I use for like actually doing the editing on the really big videos, like the Every Kid Does an Orc kit, where I shoot it over the course of like a month, and I put it all together with transitions and all that. I do all that editing on a desktop that I literally built like in the 2000s. Like this desktop is old enough to drink. Now I have rebuilt it many times, and it's kind of like Abe Lincoln's axe or whatever that is, right? Where you place the handle 4 times and the axe hit 3 times, it's still the same axe. But the case is still the OG case, and some of the parts. In fact, I think the CD optical drive is still the OG one, and then I've got like a floppy disk reader in it still, and this thing is literally cobbled together garbage. That is my like actual reality. So yeah, I keep saying it, I am a real life Big Mac. My cars all have 200,000 miles on them because that's what I can do. The ship of Theseus PC. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Oh, Ruined Ark's Tyrannus Fortress from Ruins Rule to make an amazing terrain set. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Ooh, Derherminator said that you want to get a large lot of models, but every time I look, I'm not sure at the value and what I should expect to be paying. I don't want to get fleeced. Okay. Grab a pen and paper. This is top advice. Okay. This is from a 30-year eBayer. Okay. When you look at Warhammer stuff, there is retail price, but nothing is ever worth retail price because everybody sells at a 15 to 20% discount. So really, everything new in the box is worth only 75% of what Games Workshop says. So if it's a $100 kit, realistically, your ceiling is $75, right? That is reality. Okay. So 75% of retail price is the new in the box price. Once something is out of the box and built, even if it is built perfectly, it is worth less than that because people have different tastes. Some people like all the tactical rocks and having your guys built up. Some people want guys flat on a base. Some people like having all the tchotchkes on. Some people don't. Some people like bear heads so that they can paint faces. Other people like helmets, right? So because of all of those things, you just never get as much money for a built thing. So built things tend to go for about half. That is like a really good level to be. There are some things that are worth less than that. Think like your snap fit kits, and like really, really common kits, like Tau Breacher teams, for example, or Pathfinder teams. Not the one that's got all the kill team stuff on it, but like the OG, the original one. New, the kit is like 45-ish bucks. All right. Which means you could only take 75% of that to sell it new. Okay. So you're going to sell it for like what, 30, 35, somewhere around there, right? If you take it out of the box and you build it, you think, oh, well, I could still get like 22.50 for it, right? No, you'd be lucky to make maybe 18 bucks for a squad of those guys built because they're just so common. So that 50% is really that's a ceiling. Okay, that's a ceiling. Now, vehicles and anything like the bigger it is, the higher up the value chain it goes. So, like a Stampa, for example, right? Stampa is like what, 150 bucks retail. Okay, so you're gonna buy it like new in the box, say like 115-ish, somewhere in there, right? Take it out of the box, you build it, it's still kind of worth like 100 bucks because it's so hard to build and it's so big and it's so rare. People are still willing to pay that for it. Okay, so big vehicles, think like your Bane blades and stuff like that are worth more. But yeah, anything common, rhinos, dude, rhinos are a dime a dozen. Even a really well built, all the options rhino, you're going to be lucky to get 20 bucks out of. Okay, so that 50%, that's like a ceiling. And when it comes to painted, you can go up or down from there. Most stuff is worth more unpainted than painted. Like realistically, even if you do a decent tabletop standard, um, unless you're doing something really, 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 really common, think like Ultramarines. If you paint an Ultramarine army in the standard blue and gold of today, it's going to still be worth around that half. If you do literally anything else, unless it is super, 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 super rare or well done, it's actually going to bring the value down a little. Let me give you an idea of like super well done. If you had a Flesh Tearers army and all of the shoulder pads were the actual like 3D molded Flesh Tear emblem, and you painted all of them correctly, that would be worth more because that army is in demand and it's hard to come by. If you did a Blood Angels army and they were just Blood Angels red and they did not have the 3D sculpted Blood Angel shoulder pads and all the little wings and things on them, they're actually worth less because they don't look as cool. They don't have all the bits and stuff on them, right? So that's kind of the thing. When you're buying, what I like to say is 1/3 of the value is the ceiling of what you should pay. So back to our $100 kit, if you have a $100 kit, you should only be paying 33 for it in the hopes that you would sell it for 50. That's your range. You're going to sell it at 50%. You're going to buy it at 1/3, at 33%. That's how you kind of get a good idea of value. Now, here's the other trick. The more stuff you buy, the less you pay. All right. I only like buying really giant lots. Usually it's like whole collections from people getting out. And what you want to do is you want to make it easy. So you want to walk into somebody's house, right? And they're like, I'm getting out of 40K. I'm done with this. I'm not doing it anymore. Here's my 6 armies and all my spares. You go, I will take the whole lot at this number. And that's what you do. And that's how you buy it. And the reason why you do that is you then take that lot and you split it apart, right? You go through all the bits, right? You go through all the guys. You fix everything that needs to be fixed. You convert up, whatever, fits really well. You sell all the bits. People buy bits. People buy bits individually when they're really pricey bits, legs, jump packs, right? People buy bits by the pound, right? Or by the ounce when they're just regular. That's how I started this channel. I had a 55-gallon drum of bits and would take scoops out and sell it by the ounce. And that's how we started this whole thing. Bits are valuable. Then you take the armies and you can don't even try to sell it as a whole army unless the whole army really is at a certain level. You're honestly better off selling it off squad by squad by squad, right? And what you want to do is you want to sell off the stuff that you don't want. And you want to start with that. A lot of people start with the big thing, right? They'll buy an Imperial Guard collection and they'll sell the Bane Blade and they'll sell the Leman Russes. And then they're stuck with a bunch of regular Guard infantry squads and they can't get rid of it. And they don't even want to keep it. It's like, what are you doing? If you were going to keep anything, if you were there to like keep the Bane Blade, start by selling the infantry squads. Fix them up, make sure they've got all the parts pieces, maybe finish their paint job or something, and try to sell them first. Sell them cheap, but sell them. Use that to get your money back. Because hey, if you only paid 1/3 for them, if you paid $10 for a $30 squad, you can sell it at 12 or 15 and you're making money on it. So now you've done that, you've made some money on the squad, you've recouped some of what you've paid for. Even if you don't make that much profit margin on each thing, what that allows you to do is sell off all the crap you don't want, and maybe you get to keep the really cool model for free or for very cheap. All right, look at it this way. If you buy an Imperial Guard collection, or we'll do orcs, since most of you have orc heads, right? You buy an orc collection for $200 and you really, 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 really want to keep the Stampa. You sell everything else in the collection for 150 bucks. And you're thinking, man, I didn't make a profit. Dude, you bought a Stampa for 50 bucks. If somebody walked in the door and went, hey, does anybody want a Stampa for 50? You would jump on it, right? So why, when it's the other way around, do you feel bad about it? That's the kind of mindset you need to get into when you're looking at buying whole lots or doing things like that. The Fleece and Ashes, old Big Mac is giving me my whole business plan. Yeah, I mean, you can apply it to anything. It's not just Warhammer miniatures. You can apply it to guitars. You can apply it to watches. I mean, literally any hobby thing, slot cars, Hot Wheels, whatever. Buying in whole lots, especially the bigger lot, the better, because you could buy each unit per price lower. And then you turn around and do the legwork, split it up. In fact, there was a time in my life, X-Wing the miniatures game. Don't know if you've heard of it. It was real big there for a while. I was actually in the top 100 ranked players in the world. I had won a couple of tournaments, like store level, and then like came in top 10 at a couple of big regionals. Right. I would buy people's entire X-Wing collections, like just the whole thing, one go, buy it, and then I would sell each individual ship. And I actually got so good at that, that was literally my biggest source of income for like a couple of years. So yeah, you can literally apply this principle to anything. Like learn what the retail price is, learn what the new version of that thing sells for, not retail, and then come up with the 1/3 of that price is where you should be buying it. Because here's the big secret. Take it from somebody with an actual business degree. You make your profit when you buy the thing, not when you sell it. Let that sink in. The profit isn't when you sell. The profit is when you buy. Look at it this way. You do a bunch of work to an army. You sell it for $1,000. You've made 4 digits on that army. You're like, dude, I've made it. It's awesome, right? Like, I'm going to be super respected. I'm going to be able to sell more armies, stuff like that. But you had $900 into building that army up. You've only made a $100 profit. Now, little old me over here, I sold all my junk for 600 bucks. You're like, I blew you out of the water. I made 1,000. You only made 600. But I only had $300 into my stuff. I made a $300 profit. I doubled my money. You had $900 into it, only made 100 bucks. Who's got the better profit margin? Who's got the better percentage? And who's got the better actual dollar value? I made all my money on the front end negotiating to buy the stuff for 300 bucks in the first place, whereas you didn't. You make all of your money on the front end, on the buy. That's why so many of my videos about collecting Warhammer are about how to save money when you buy it. Because I can't get rid of that part of my brain, right? I innately understand that you make all your profit when buying it. So if you buy your army as cheap as you possibly can to start with, if you do a bunch of conversions and kit bashes to get maximum value out of your kits, then later on down the road, if you do decide to sell it, you're actually going to be able to get your money back easier or even make a profit way more than somebody who didn't. And that's just life lesson. Oh man, I gotta catch up with the chat now. I really hit a nerve on this one. DeFleeps and Nashers bought a lot of items when people split their tax return and have buyer's remorse. Absolutely. Right now is like the best time to buy. It's April. It's tax season. people got their returns and they went crazy at the hobby store. And then bills came in and they went, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And you could buy stuff cheap. That's why you see so many sales right now from retailers. They understand that when you got tax money, you're a little flush and you're going to buy things you would normally otherwise buy. Games Workshop does the marketing, and every year there's a new crop of teenagers. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. For the teenagers, you actually usually see it in the fall. What happens is they'll go off to college. They're now in charge of their own money. They get some student loans, right? Or maybe they got a job, they're working part-time or something like that. And suddenly they have money and they go and they buy a bunch of Warhammer, and then they realize they gotta like buy the food in the fridge, like it doesn't magically appear from dad or mom anymore. And now you could buy it cheap. So I actually live in a college town. You could walk to the college campus from my house, which is really cool. But yeah, so there's a new influx of gamers every fall as the new crop of freshmen comes in, and sometime between the start of school and the holidays, kind of right about that October time frame. There's usually great deals to be found, and I am not above doing that because I am a dirty, dirty death skull that is also a bad moon. Just my dog woke me up barking at nothing, so I switched on YouTube. And hey, there's a live stream. Yeah, we've been here for God, how many hours now? I can't even 2.5 hours already. Yeah, Terminator. That's been my thing from the beginning. Is how to stretch your hobby dollar further. We all know this is a really expensive hobby, regardless of Games Workshop being a $1 billion private equity company. Just period. Doesn't matter what game you're into. It's an expensive hobby. Hobbies are expensive. That's why they're hobbies, because you want to spend your money on it, right? So anything you can do to save that money is really cool and important. Ooh, Blissful Badger's doing the swap meet. Oh man. I've been thinking about hosting one of those, honestly. Now we've got our friendly local game store, Mind Taker Miniatures, who you guys all know and love. They've sponsored a couple of the videos, but I plug them all the time, even when they don't sponsor, because I do truly love them. In fact, I was literally there today buying things. Ooh, in fact, I should show you guys this. This is really cool. But I don't want to like step on their toes, because that's like their whole thing is buying used stuff and selling it. But I would love to do a swap meet, because swap meets look like so much fun. And like I've got so much junk hanging around here that like I bought for videos that I ended up abandoning and never doing, or like bought for the Grats and then the Grats fell out of love with it, right? So like setting up a big swap meet table and like selling or trading a bunch of my stuff and then getting a bunch of new things sounds really, really awesome. So I love the swap meet videos. So absolutely go do that, Blissful Badger. I cannot wait to see it. The Floofs and Nashers, when teenagers get a job, discover cars and girls, they often look to sell their models too. Hey, it all came at the same time for me. All right. That is why I'm perpetually broke. I discovered everything all at once. It's the full-time job before 16. Protein Geek says, don't really have any of that pattern here in Australia, really. Students don't go to live in college in the communities, mostly graybeards like us. Well, that's, man, so Games Workshop extra screws Australians. Not only like does the currency conversion kill you, but for some reason they super jack the prices for Australia, New Zealand more than anywhere else. And I don't get why. Like I know it's far away and there's shipping costs involved and all that kind of stuff, but like I know Australia has trade agreements with the UK that are favorable. And Games Workshop stuff is literally made in the UK. It's not like it's made in China, or anywhere else. So I don't understand why they do that. Like stuff is a little bit more expensive in Canada, but not really. In fact, there was a good chunk of time there that the stuff was so much cheaper in Canada that it was actually cheaper for us Americans to buy Games Workshop in Canada or from Canada and have it shipped down. Like that was the thing for years. That in fact, when Assault on Blackreach was out, that was the thing. I remember buying my Orc Battle Force, and maybe it was just about maybe it was like a couple of different battle forces, but I specifically remember buying my Orc Battle Force box from Canada, because even buying it in Canada and having it delivered was cheaper than buying it in the US. So I really don't get why Games Workshop screws Australians so hard. So yeah, but on the other hand, that means your secondhand market is really, really, really strong. So anytime new stuff is harder to get, it means or like pricier, the used stuff stays up high too. Um, you really see that in cars. Um, so regular cars, they depreciate, and they depreciate at kind of a certain rate, right? And so, new the car was 30 grand, a couple of years old, it's worth 20 grand, 10 years old, it's worth 12 grand. It just kind of like has this little slope. Sports cars, anything cool, that slope is different. And it might even be V-shaped to where it starts being worth more than when it was new. Because there's, first of all, they were more expensive when they were new, but then there's less of them out there. And sports cars tend to get used up a little quicker and harder than regular cars. So whereas, you might still be able to buy a sedan that's 30, 40 years old and it's in decent shape and keeps on trucking, try buying a 30 or 40-year-old sports car. And what kind of shape is it in? If you can even find it to begin with, because they've all been raced or wrecked or blown up, right? So the market for those is very different. So the same kind of thing kind of happens with war games. That's why I like Forge World stuff, right? Forge World stuff was very, very pricey when it was new. And even though it lost a little bit of value, it didn't lose as much as like regular Games Workshop stuff. And then some of it now is worth a lot more than it was new. Shady Snakes is in Montana, says it is still really cheap to get GW stuff from Canada. I'm glad to see that's still a thing. I can't remember where I used to buy from in Canada, but we'd have a box come in every couple of months. War Boss John and I would do that. That was a thing. Oh, Brendos ER 530 got a new one here. Says as somebody who doesn't like the new design direction or sculpts for the orcs, coupled with the new box likely being more expensive than ever, it's hard to be excited for 11th. Brendos, you're not excited about the new War Boss? You don't think he's cool? What don't you like about him? I mean, he's got the old school big gob going on. He's got the small forehead, the big old power claw, and I mean that grot is the bee's knees. I mean, I get it. Like some of the alternate stuff isn't for everybody, but like we haven't actually seen the cat in the flesh yet. Like, I mean, so far we've seen what, 2 boys, 1 knob, and the multi-part war boss. Like that is the only things we've seen in the new stuff. There is Wazdaka, but he's technically the end of 10th edition. But again, I think the Wazdaka looks rad, and Wazdaka never had a model, so like he's all new. Persian Geek says you need to go buy some old boys if you need more. Hey, that's one of the things I'm going to be selling. I held on to a absolute boatload of old boys for kit bashing purposes, and I realized that I don't need an absolute boatload of old boys for kit bashing purposes because I'm already sitting on way too many boys as it is. So I'm going to be selling off full sets of old boys probably on the Discord. So if you're in the need for some old boys and you don't want to buy new at retail, you should be hitting up Discord probably tomorrow. Ooh, Protean Geek with the top tip for Aussies. Umart has old prices on a bunch of stuff. That's good to know. It's always nice when you find a retailer that doesn't go along with the price increases. That like they're like, well, we bought it when it was this price. We're going to keep it at that price rather than try to jack it up for more profit. You got to appreciate that. I know, Craig. I know. Never enough boys, but like dead Gork's honest truth. I've got 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 80. I have got 80 boys built, painted, based, done in my army. I've got another 120 boys like built and primed in my conversion boxes. I have another 150 boys new on the sprue. That does not include Ludas, Bernas, tank busters, commandos, anything else. That is just bog standard basic boys. I don't need 350-ish basic boys. So if I sell like 100 of them, I still have like 250 basic boys. Especially now that the thing that really changes, we all thought they were changing boys back into slugger boys and shooter boys, because again, in the annual reports, the financial reports, Games Workshop has stated that one of their areas for growth in 2026 and beyond is to get rid of redundancy at the retail level. And the boys kit was literally one of their examples on how they had two kits that they're the exact same name, but they were a different SKU and a different part number and a different price. And it confused people and it led to a lot of returns and lost revenue. And then when they announced Dawn of War 4, and they were showing the gameplay and they're clicking on the units, they clicked on a unit called Slugga Boys and they clicked on a unit called Shooter Boys. And we're like, boom, we are getting Shooter Boys and Slugga Boys. And then Games Workshop went out and said, your boys carry everything. Now they're just boys and they all have sluggas and shooters and choppas. And all of us are like, what? Like, that's not what you said in the annual report, and that's not what you're showing off in Dawn of War 4. What are you doing? So yeah, if we're not getting two different boy data sheets, that means that the most boys you can run, if they stick to 20 boys on the squad, is 120. 6 squads times 20 is 120 boys. Boom, you're done. So if you've got double that still, you're never going to use it, like even in an apocalypse game. So there just becomes a time where this stuff takes up too much room and too much opportunity costs that could be other kits that we could use here on the channel. Brenda says the Grot and Wadstock are cool for sure. Personally, I think the new orcs look a bit more dad bod than muscly. I get more of an ogre feel from orcs. So there's been a couple. Okay, first of all, orcs all throughout the years have on and off had the dad bod pot belly. All right, that literally you can go buy Rogue Trader era sculpts that have it, 2nd edition, 3rd edition, whatever. What was that special knob? Gorzag Get Stampa had kind of the gut. But then you got like the Commando knob. He doesn't have a gut. He's got like a 6-pack. He looks like Tyrese from Fast and the Furious, right? So it's always kind of been a mix. But yeah, sometimes they kind of get like big belly armor that isn't the greatest look. I get you on that. But like the Beast Snaggas, they don't have that at all, man. Beast Snaggas are cut. Those boys got 8-packs. Just saying. Dirt Hermit says, unless they go back to having 0 to unlimited boys in the squad. Well, that's why I'm keeping 240 of them around. I don't think more than that would actually fit on a Warhammer board anyway. We should probably like do some math on like how many 32 millimeter bases fit on a 6x4 board anyway. And that gives you the upper limit of boys you should own. McFadden says, I'm half tempted to sell off my current boys in preparation for 11th. It's up to you. They'd go for good money right now. I can tell you that. So again, I was in Mindtaker today. They had, I kid you not, Mork's honest truth, one 40K orc in the entire store. Like you went to like the Space Marine section and there was like a whole shelf of just Space Marines and then a whole shelf of just Horse Heresy Marines and then like a whole shelf of Chaos Marines and everything, right? And you got to the orc section and it was like 4 pegs labeled orcs was all that was left. And on one peg, there was one like Gorka Morka era war track. That was the only thing in the entire store. So they are desperate for some orcs right now. So, if you want to sell some orcs, yeah, the demand is out of this world as people are buying up orcs in preparation for 11th. Protein Geek says the one thing I like about the Blade Beakies is how you can use bits and basic bodies to make the new stuff. Absolutely. There is something. This was something I was actually planning on talking about that we didn't get around to until now. Traditionally, the launch box or the starter set, you've been able to buy it and then split it pretty easily because a lot of people wanted the Space Marine half, and so the antagonist half usually went at a deep discount. So, for example, right now you could buy the Tyranid half of Indominus for less than half of that was Leviathan. You could buy the Tyranid half of Leviathan for less than half the cost of Leviathan. The Space Marine half goes for more than half the cost. Indominus was definitely like that. The Necron half was super cheap. The Space Marine half was super expensive. Dominion was probably the worst, even though that was in 40K. The Cruel Boys were so unpopular. You could buy a brand new sealed Dominion box for less than $100 shipped for like over a year. I know this because I bought one. We covered it on the channel, and then Boss Grot stole it and built all of the Stormcast Eternals. You could sell the Stormcast Eternal half for about $90. The Cruel Boys, literally, maybe you couldn't like really buy the whole half for $10, but realistically, the whole half is worth about $10. That is how unpopular that army is. Like to this day, years and an entire edition after it came out, you can still find like the great beast boss on Nasha 2 for whatever it is for like less than $10. Mindtaker had like 3 or 4 of them on the shelf at $10. Like that box was just awful. But here's the thing. The Space Marine half of the boxes on 40K were always pretty good. Second edition, again, you got a bunch of beakies. I can't remember what else is in there. If there was like a Dreadnought or a Captor or something like that. But that one was about 50-50 because you did get just so many orcs. So you were paying less per model, but the whole army half was still about even. Third edition got weird because the Space Marine half, you got 10 beakies and a land speeder. So it was skewed. It was, you had more value in the Space Marines period than just the 20 Dark Eldar, because the Dark Eldar part didn't get a vehicle at all. And so, but with the third edition box, and I know this because again, I was a big Dark Eldar player because it was cheap. People were selling the Dark Eldar half for pennies. You would buy that launch box. It was less than $100, or no, it was like 109. Yeah, it was like 109 was the price of the box, and that one had the rule book and the terrain pieces. You had like the 2 corner runes and the little jungle trees, and then the Space Marines and the land speeder, and then the 20 Eldar warriors. What people were doing is they were buying the box because the rule book was like 30 or $35. And so they would buy the box and they would sell the rule book for like $25 because there were people that would buy the rule book that didn't want either army, because the third edition had the index in the back. It had all of the rules for all of the armies from second, which was really cool. So they would sell the rule book for like $25, and they would sell the Dark Eldars literally for $1 a piece. So it would be $20 and you would get 20 Dark Eldar warriors. And so I would buy all of my friends that bought a third edition box, I would buy all their Dark Eldar. And that's ended up with a gigantic Dark Eldar army. Well, the thing is that with all the Beaky players being super unenthusiastic about Armageddon, that's actually bad news for us Orc players. We were hoping the Beaky half was going to be like Indominus and was just going to be so over the top, insanely cool, or even Leviathan. Leviathan's Space Marine half is pretty fire. The Terminators and the Terminator Librarian and the Terminator Captain are bangers and like still command great money to this day. So even though like the Infernus Marines weren't the best or whatever, like you still got a great value out of the Space Marine half of that box. But if the Armageddon Beaky half isn't that great, if people don't really like it, they're not going to buy as many boxes. And if they don't buy as many boxes, that means the Orc half isn't going to be as cheap. We may actually get the first inverse box right now from all the YouTube I watch, which is a lot. There is way more excitement for the Orc models than these Space Marine models. Like every Space Marine channel I watch, I don't want to say doom and gloom. I don't like negative channels, but also just, they're very realistic. They're going, hey, these aren't the most exciting Marines so far, I'm a little worried that people aren't going to be hyped about this box. And all the people that are talking about orcs are going, dude, this is sick. The orcs are finally back to like what orcs should look like and like junkyard aesthetic. And like these guys are great. It might end up where the orc half of the box is worth more than half, and the Space Marine half is worth less than half. That could be a thing. So just saying. Just saying. Pretty Geek says, I bet the land spirit will bring the beakies back in. Maybe we'll see. We will really see. Yeah, it's oof. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. Raincoat Bear says they have buckets of models on a playable game. There are very much two camps. There is the camp of people that have been playing the game forever and have a ton of models, and they just want new rules that are good, and they don't necessarily care about the models in the box. They might not necessarily buy the launch box. Why would you pay the $250 or whatever it's going to be for a launch box when you can wait for the regular starter set that's going to be, like 150 instead, to get those rules, right? Or just buy the rule books outside of the box. Then you have people that are into this for the models. We don't really care about the rules one or the other. We just want cool models. Those people, if the models are cool, the box sells like hotcakes. See Indominus and Leviathan. If the box is uncool, it doesn't sell. See Dominion. Okay. Even like Skaven Tides. Skaven Tides sold really good. That box was a banger on both sides of the armies. Hence, the box was way more popular. So you really need a box with two great armies in it to be a great seller. The Dark Imperium box was fantastic for that. You had the brand new Primaris Marines, and the first time you could get those, but also the brand new Death Guard, and the first time you could get those, and those Death Guard were like sick in both the ways, right? To this day, the Death Guard half of Dark Imperium sells for an insane amount of money because they are so good. But even the Space Marine half brings a lot of money. So, a Dark Imperium box is an excellent value, versus like what was the 6th, 7th edition box? I can't remember what it was called. The one that had the Raven Guard Deathwing versus the Chaos. First of all, the 6th edition box was so bad that it became the 7th edition box too. They didn't even change the starter box, which I mean is nuts. Could you imagine that happening today? They nearly killed Warhammer. But also like it was not a great box. Like Chaos guys kind of liked the Defiler or whatever it was in there, the Obliterate. I can't remember. It was like the 3 Obliterators and the Spider guy. But unless you were a Ravenwing fan, that half of the box went for nothing. Nobody wanted it. That's why. So yeah, I guess that box was an inverse box. That the Chaos were always with more than the Beakies, but just even the Chaos weren't that popular because they weren't that great, really, compared to the other Chaos that were out in the time. It wasn't like the Dark Imperium box. So yeah, Dark Vengeance. There we go. Thank you. But yeah, it just. Oof. So yeah, we got to see what this box is going to be. We really do. McFadden says, honestly, I love the 6-7 box. Chaos guys look baller as hell. Okay, I did like the Chaos Cultist. You guys know I like a Cultist. If you like Ravenwing, the Ravenwing half was great. Like they weren't bad sculpts. It wasn't bad value. They weren't bad models. The problem was it was a niche of a niche of a niche. They weren't Space Marines, they were Dark Angels. And they weren't just Dark Angels, they were Ravenwing. So it was this tiny little bucket that couldn't be used as anything else. Like to truly convert Ravenwing to something else takes a ton of work. And even that it wasn't going to be like the greatest thing because some of the models were like so Ravenwing specific. That's part of what really killed that box. Yeah, like $100, right? Like $100. Yeah, that box was priced about like Dominion was, really. Gerhino says it is crazy to just wait on the new orcs in the intro box if you don't mind monopose orcs and don't have any to start. See, I'm one of those orc players. I got orcs from all ages in mine. I got okay. The 2nd edition and Rogue Trader stuff now just lives in the case. It's a little too old hammery, but All my third edition stuff is in my army, all my fourth edition, all my Assault on Blackreach stuff, all my new stuff, monopose boys, multi-pose boys, they're all in there. And I mix them up into the squads. So like I take my squads and I literally like shake them around and then like repaint that squad as a squad with different guys in it because I like the variety and the variation. To me, that is very orky. That does look better. Orcs are all different sizes, they're all different colors, they come from all different mushroom patches on the ground, right? So the more variety you have in your orcs with both their size and their skin tones, honestly, the better they look. And so you put all the variety in there, and then you paint all their armor the same, and the army looks sick. So yeah, like I'm gonna add the monopose guys, I'm gonna add the multipose guys, but I'm gonna mix them up into my current squads so that every squad is like one dude from each generation all slathered together. That's the way to do it. Oh, McFadden said all wings were definitely represented. There was Deathwing Terminators, Ravenwing Bikes, and Greenwing Tacticals. Okay. I didn't play 6th and 7th. That's when I was out of 40K. I got out at the tail end of 5th before 6th came out, and I came in like halfway through 8th or like right as they were announcing 9th. So I totally missed 6th and 7th. I never bought those boxes. I never saw them on the shelf. I've only ever seen like the artwork and the pictures that show like the Raven Wing very specifically front and center. So good to know that it had Raven Wing, Deathwing, and regular Dark Angels. That probably explains why it wasn't quite as dire as like Dominion. But still, that is a Dark Angels army, and it takes a lot to convert that because it was Dark Angel specific, and they did mold the chapter things on and stuff. Because that was a problem that Battle for McCrag had. Battle for McCrag, the Space Marines were actually Ultramarines, and they had the U's actually molded into their shoulders. And you had to like cut all that off if you were going to use them as anything but Ultramarines, which turned a lot of people off on that box, which is why when Assault and Blackreach came out, they were back to being plain Marines again, where you could paint them as anything. So I think that's why you're seeing they're not actually going to be Blood Angels in Armageddon. They're going to be basic Marines because Games Workshop has learned over time that, hey, if you pigeonhole this into a particular chapter, it does hurt sales. McFadden, a release of the Marine half of Dark Vengeance would literally be a better start to Dark Angels than the current Combat Patrol. Hey, the current Dark Angels Combat Patrol is an excellent combat patrol for Space Marine chapters that are not called Dark Angels. Oh my god, it's so bad. It is so bad. The other thing that really kills me about it is that the old Dark Angels Combat Patrol, the first one, even though it wasn't very Dark Angel specific, was one of the best combat patrols they put out, period, right? So not only did you go from like having one of the best to one of the worst, but it became even less Dark Angel-y, which was hard because again, that first one didn't have any Dark Angel specific models, and yet somehow it still had more flavor than whatever the new thing is. The new thing is just weird. Excellent combat patrol. If you're not playing Dark Angels, I don't get it. Yes, McFadden. If you do scrape off the hilts of the Dark Angel's sword, it does sort of look like the teardrop. I have personally done that, and then used a little putty to finish it out. A lot of my Blood Angels in one of my Blood Angel armies was Dark Angels. And yeah, Protein Geek is right. Everything that Dark Vengeance is no longer valid. Primaris replaced everything in that box. That I think that's why it goes so cheap too. But yeah, like update it. Like I see what you're saying. Like you just take the contents of that box and use the modern version of all those things and put that out as a box, and that would be a sick army. Like honestly, if they did that, I would probably buy it and start a Dark Angels army because I've always loved Dark Angels. So yeah. What is that? Hold on. The chat went kind of crazy in here. I was trying to see what it said. McFadden, even during Leviathan, I was noticing the Marine half going for cheaper and more abundantly than the Tyranid half. Really? I never saw that. I always saw the Tyranid half of Leviathan for less than the Space Marine half. Now, the non-Leviathan, the regular, like full set thing that doesn't have as many models in it, that one I saw the Tyranid half going for more because you got way more value out of the Tyranid half because they cut all the Space Marine characters, and that's what all the money was in Leviathan. For example, the lieutenant in with combi weapon. So he was like a Phobos lieutenant that had like the Tyranid armor plate as a shoulder pad and had like the poison dripping off of his knife. That model sells for like $80. It's ridiculous. Um, Especially if you just kit bash your own. I kit bash my own. In fact, this is my version of lieutenant with combi weapon. Got the instead of giving him a Tyranid with has his shoulder pad, extra armor, and then he's got another little one down here on his little knee pad instead of the poison dripping off the knife. So that's how I made my lieutenant with combi weapon. And yes, you'll notice he's blue because he's actually one of those push fit reavers. You can get the little paint set that had like 5 or 6 paints in it and a brush and 3 push fit reavers. Nowadays it's like 3 Infernus Marines. But I had bought that set and I kit bashed. I used the reaver bodies to kit bash some characters. Once again, always got to be safe and teeth. But yeah, I only ever saw the Leviathan Marine half go for more than the Tyranid half. But yeah, that was my hope for Armageddon is that the beaky half would be like so insanely good that people would overpay for it, and thus creating a glut of orcs, allowing us to buy the orc half for cheaper. Because obviously, I want to buy like one of the boxes to start with, and then give the beakies to Beskrat, or put some of them in my army or whatever. But then yeah, like getting some more of the orcs to do kit bashes with and do cool videos with, or give them away or whatever would be really good. If that's oh, mic cuts out when you lean close. Okay, good to know. Homestead Turk, I need to pull mine out of my Leviathan box. Yeah, honestly, if you've got that lieutenant with combi weapon and you're not keeping him or using him, that model goes for a stupid amount of money. Not joking at all. Beskrat has one in his, or had one, and he sold it. And then after he sold it, the prices on him went crazy nuts. It was just like, oh, I don't know, maybe he still has it. I think I might have talked him into keeping that one because it was already starting to get up there. I have to go look at his junk. Oh, Legion of the Damned. Yeah, let's talk about Legion of the Damned for a second. So you know when I was giving you guys my history of my Space Marine collection, all my guys that became too damaged to fix really and started looking janky, I turned into Legion of the Damned. So I would drill bullet holes in them and stuff and like put gouges in the armor, have like pieces falling off or have like different armor marks stuff on them. And then I would, use some putty and whatnot, some Tamiya putty, to put like the flames and the skulls and stuff on them. And the glue, I had like an undead skeleton kit for Warhammer Fantasy Battle that I had bought like specifically for battlefield accessories and stuff. So I'd like to use the skulls from that and whatnot. But I would turn them into Legion of the Damned guys. Then I would paint them black with the orange flames. And so I always had a Legion of the Damned army along with my regular Space Marines. And just every time a Space Marine got too beat up, he got turned into a Legion of the Damned and he joined the Legion. And so it slowly grew over time until it was like army sized. Which I have thought about doing again. Beskrat's got some beakies that he's had for years now. And remember, he started doing it when he was like 4 or 5. They're rough. They're really rough. And he's kind of wanting some Legion of the Damned. So we might take his like 5 worst dudes and make a Legion of the Damned squad just to start with, because that would be fun. Oh, Dirt Hermit might be working tomorrow. That would be good for you, my friend. But yeah, great stream. In fact, we're coming up on 3 hours. I've been spending 3 hours with you guys. That is a long time. Super appreciate all you guys hanging out with me tonight. Like I said, keeping me safe from supercharging my microwave or doing something equally as stupid as that because I've been left unsupervised without a gaggle of rats running around. But yeah, it was a lot of fun hanging out with everybody. We spent 3 hours talking orcs, talking 11th, talking beakies, talking armies, talking about paint schemes. You guys did an amazing job on the super chats. I will put this up on eBay live. Well, not live. I will put this up on the eBay. I will put it up on the Discord when it goes live, so y'all can follow it. But yeah, we'll put it up there for $1 and we'll sell it and see what happens. That is pretty darn cool. So thank you all of you for doing the super chat to get us there. Once again, don't forget to join the Discord. It is free as always, link down in the description below. And then once you're on the Discord, come join our New Year, New Army or New Year, More Orcs contest. Again, you don't have to go buy anything for it. You could just go ahead and decide to do something really, really cool and build up your army. You get a free entry where you can win a Armageddon box coming directly from Old Big Mac to you anywhere in the world, which is really rad. The Flu Sinatra says, it's too bad the chat isn't available when you post live videos to YouTube. Yes, it is. There is a button you can click called Live Chat Replay, which I always select on my videos. So when you go to watch this later on when it's not live, you can click that button instead of the regular comments, and you can see all of the chat as it happened in the live streams. That is something that I always do for my live streams. It doesn't always work. Every once in a while, YouTube has a glitch, but I always select that. And the last few streams I've looked at, it has definitely worked because I like to keep all your guys' chats in there because we definitely have great information that come from you guys. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's what we're doing. I'm going to leave you guys, you long haulers that stayed here all the way to the end, because I see there's like 34, 40 of you somewhere in there. With my latest pickup, I just got this today. This is URCini World Exclusive. Check this thing out. This is from some sort of game called Dust Allies, Dust Tactics, something like that. It's a game I never heard of, didn't know it existed. It must have came out when I was not into those kind of things. But it was by Fantasy Flight, I've been told. This is plastic. That's a regular plastic kit. It is obviously a P-38 Lightning with jet engines instead of props. And then look, it even has like working landing gear. Like, what is this thing? Oh, and then the pod racer. But the jet engines on this thing, the nozzles move. Like, how rad is that? So yeah, I saw this thing and I was immediately like, that is a DACA jet if I've ever seen one in my life. I immediately bought it to loot and turn into a DACA jet. But yeah, this thing is sick. I would love to find more of these kits. So I'm going to be converting this into it's probably not going to be a DACA jet. It'll probably be a Wazbomb Blaster jet maybe, or this even comes off already. Look at that. I can put an orc in there. Dude, this thing is so sick. Yeah, I might make a Blitzabama out of it or something like that. Oh, dude, even the glass comes out. I am so jazzed with this. I need to find more of these. This is really, really sick. So yeah, Dust was the name of this game, and this stuff goes for super cheap. I paid $20. I will show you full transparency. Mine Taker Manager's there. $20 whole for the Bellowing Birdie Flyer 3. So yeah. Oh, there's a thingy in here. I didn't even see the thingy in here when I bought it. What is this? This is the flight stand. Obviously, I'm gonna put mine on the Games Workshop flight stand. Dude. So it says Dust Tactics. That must be the name of the game. And this is actually pretty cool. This is a like ice and snow. I don't know if it came like this or if somebody did this themselves. That's a pretty sick base, even though that is so not a Games Workshop's shape, but maybe I can use this for a display model. But yeah, so new kit bash fodder thanks to Dust with my P-38 Lightning jet fighter DACA jet thing here. So yeah, look for this in a video. You got to see that world exclusive because you guys hung out with me the whole time, because Old Big Mac likes doing things like that as a way of saying thank you. All right, let's see the last couple of things here. Blissful Badger said Dust was an earlier form of the 47 Weird War gaming. Okay, sounds good. Look up the Walker tanks of the Allies. You know, they had a couple of those there and I didn't get them. Maybe I should go back and get them. Hmm. Yeah, I know that there's like World War Tunes and Weird War and like Conflict 47 and Scythe and like there's a bunch of like alternate timeline things, but a lot of them aren't scaled right for 40K. Like this thing is just so chonky and kind of cartoony and chibi that it works because 40K has always been a heroic scale. So the hands are bigger than the bodies and the weapons are bigger, and then the vehicles are smaller in order to get everything kind of on a tabletop, which is why like real scale models don't work very well because real scale models they're not heroic, right? And so the engines and stuff are too small, and the wings and stuff are too big. So you really got to like whack that scale around to get it to work right, which is why this works so good. So that's why it was so exciting for me. It's a P-48X Pelican. Okay, well, now it's going to be a Blitzabama. In fact, I was checking out, and the guys at the crew at Mindtaker, they're like, so we don't know if this like came pre-painted or if somebody like jazzed it up a little. I'm like, I don't care. They're like, well, but then it's got decals. I'm like, what part of I'm turning this into a DACA painting it red with flames? Do you not understand? I literally don't care. All I see is raw material. I am a Big Mac. Bigatures. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Oh, Dust for an Imperial Guard army. Yeah, we're not getting into my Imperial Guard rant. We'll be here for another 3 hours. Ooh, the Diving Dottie P-48C model. Okay, thank you to Floofs and Ashes. I will definitely do that because it looks like this stuff is super duper cheap, at least until you lot hear about it. And then we're all going to go raise the prices up on Amazon. You guys remember when we found the World War II pullback tanks and that they were the exact same size as Forge World Rat tanks and came 4 to a pack? And we literally made Amazon sell out of them 3 times. There is still to this day some CEO guy overseas somewhere that goes, I don't understand. Like we made these like this whole line and nothing sold. And then these pullback tanks, we sold 1 million of. And I don't know why. We're why. Crazy Orc Kit Bashers is why. Oh, wait, we got one last final serious question. Gurhino 3396. Do you think the 11th edition box is going to go for 275 or are they bumping it up to 300? Rumor is 300, but that's a hard sell, especially in a recession. I think if they price it that high, it's not going to sell very good. There is a chance that this launch box will be the least popular one of the last few editions and could potentially go maybe even get sold at less than retail like Dominion did. Now, obviously not all the way down to $100 the way Dominion did, but there is a good chance that this does not sell out and you'll be able to walk into friendly local game stores and buy copies of it, maybe even at a discount months after release. So yeah. McFadden says, is the starter set for 11th going to be another 2 combat patrols and ultimately a better buy? Yeah, that is exactly what it's going to be. So for those of you that missed out, the Leviathan box had all of the squads in it and then a bunch of characters and sold for a high price. And then they only made 1 run of that, or sorry, they made 2 runs because they made a run and then they made a made to order run so that everybody that didn't get one could get one. Because screw scalpers, which that is the one thing I will say thank you to Games Workshop for. That is how you should do business. So Leviathan had 2 runs, but then when both runs were sold out, they released the Ultimate Starter Set. And the Ultimate Starter Set had a little bit of terrain in it, but they took out a bunch of the characters and the vehicles. So, like you lost the Dreadnought and like one of the big Tyranid things, but you got both combat patrols. So you got the whole Space Marine combat patrol plus a couple extras, and the whole Tyranid combat patrol plus a couple of extras. And that box was an extremely good deal. Plus, you could get it on a discount because it was a regular box, which means you could buy it online for like 1500% off. The hope is Armageddon is going to be like that, where you have this giant box with all these models in it, but then the Ultimate Starter Set version will literally be just the Orc Kill Team, or not Kill Team, Combat Patrol, just the Orc Combat Patrol, and just the Space Marine Combat Patrol. possibly with some terrain in it, and that will be a much better deal. So, and then again, that will be in regular production throughout 11th edition. So no FOMO there. They will make that in perpetuity. In fact, right now they're still making the 10th edition one. They've renamed it the Combat Patrol Starter or the Ultimate Combat Patrol Starter, something like that. You can still buy it brand new right now, even though 11th edition comes out in 2 months. And it is super duper duper dirt cheap. So if you really like those models, or you want to have a Space Marine Combat Patrol and Tyranid Combat Patrol, it is an excellent deal. McFadden says Ultimate Starter Set wasn't a great buy because the terrain inflated the price. The terrain did inflate the price, but it was good terrain. And you do need terrain to make a battlefield. And the terrain was still at a discount compared to terrain values. Another top tip for you: if you're doing the buy, sell, trade Warhammer stuff, terrain is worth way more than models. In fact, short of Forge World, terrain is the best thing to make money on. Octarius terrain sells for more than the Octarius box was retail for just the terrain. Mech Boy workshops sell for over $200. Okay. Terrain kits are always worth money. So never let a terrain let you down. Yes, the Space Marine Combat Patrol was doo-doo garbage. We can definitely sit on that one. The Infernus Marines sucked. There was no battle line in the box, which meant that when you played Combat Patrol, you couldn't actually like win Combat Patrol, let alone 40K. It was bad. It was fire. So, but anyways, you get it at 20% off retail, though. You're starting to get somewhere. All right, guys, it's been over 3 hours. I've been yapping at you. My throat's killing me. My battery's yelling at me, and all that good stuff. But we had a super fun time tonight. Thanks each and every one of you for hanging out. Thanks each and every one of you that has joined the Discord and has put your armies up there. I am super looking forward to everyone's progress. I am going to log off and spend some time working on things. I'm probably going to ignore everything I'm supposed to do and spend time playing with this because Big Mac. But yeah. Super awesome hanging out with you all tonight. Wednesday night stream, I think, was a success. I think next week we'll be back to Mondays, but y'all let me know how having different dates and times is working for everybody, and we'll catch you on the next one. Until then, water! And then we click the button that says it. Boop!